with the killers and we going to the top. We blowing up your city and you might get dropped. Cause we are never quitting, we are never giving up. So the enemies, I'm taking them apart. I'm a young boss, got me feeling like a rock. They can never match it, they can never stop. Cause I've been really giving everything that I got. Cause I've been working on a plan, on a block. Over with the killers and we going to the top. We blowing up your city and you might get dropped. Cause we are never quitting, we are never giving up. So the enemies, I'm taking them apart. I'm a young boss, got me feeling like a rock. They can never match it, they can never stop. Cause I've been really giving everything that I got. Cause I've been working on a plan, on a block. Over with the killers and we going to the top. We blowing up your city and you might get dropped. Yeah, I'm the hunter, you're the prey. You bet that I never run away. Cause I'm the one that fights through the pain. I'm the new leader, it's time for a change. What you know about living in the rain, living in the cold, hating every day, but then you still want to do it anyway. That's not you, yeah, we are not the same. I put the work in, you complain. I'm a rebel, I'm the main, I'm the alpha in this game, and that ain't never gonna change. Never gonna change, never gonna switch. Cause I'm in this game, yeah, I'm in this bitch. Stick another pay, yeah, we're getting rich. Investing all the money in the bigger things. Yeah, we going heavy, yeah, we killing it. These niggas don't die, then we feeling it. They cannot hold us down, cause we never quit. We're the rebels of the town, and we getting shit. So the enemies, I'm taking them apart. I'm a young boss, got me feeling like a rock. They can never match it, they can never stop. Cause I've been really giving everything that I got. Working on a plan, on a block. Over with the killers, and we going to the top. We're blowing up your city, and you might get dropped. Yeah, I'm the hunter, you're the prey. You bet that I never run away. I'm the new leader, it's time for a change.
Man, that Doom music always hits hard and gets you hyped up, man. What's up,
Yes,
everybody?
it
It's
does.
TEKNOBLAST and
Oh,
SIKSLAYER.
yes, it does.
And the realist would be up here later on because I don't know what he's doing. He's probably at the yard again with the kids, right? Playing baseball or something. No, he's right
he
here.
here
He just
right now.
stepped
There
in,
he
man.
goes.
He just kicked down the
Right on
door. He's
time.
like, I'm coming in, bro. Anyways, we're back here for another Thursday night of just gaming talk and talking shit and talking trash and whatever else comes with it.
Who said we're coming in, bro?
Come on, bro.
What up, bro?
My neighbor.
No, when I. Oh, okay.
He's like,
It's time for the bro down.
time for the brother. My neighbors. You know, I tell when Legal calls me, dude, I tell him that he just starts losing it, man.
Yeah, man, that's hilarious. That's like ninjas, but even more but more family friendly as a replacement word. My neighbors.
I'm just saying my neighbors, man, because he's
Yeah,
down there in
yes, they
Houston.
did that.
What's up, guys? We're back, dude. Sony looks like they're still taking a few licks here and there, man. Looks like Alien Isolation, which is one of my favorite games, right, from back then, is getting a sequel, and I hope they keep the same formula. Please, nothing for the modern audience. It's all I ask for. Go back and look at what the game is and continue with what's going on in that story, right?
I think what they learned was from this most recent movie to keep it that way. I think they learned that lesson. So, by the way, look in the tweets, in the our DMs. I sent the link. We could talk about something real quick.
Yeah.
From something related to last week. Anyway, yeah, man. I think they learned their lesson from the movie, and they're gonna keep it the way they want it because They must have heard the word from the fans all this time of the first game. So
Dude,
I can only imagine, but you know how this industry.
But you know, and what the thing is with we'll get into it. And then we got 343 getting renamed to Halo Studios, and Until Dawn is like one of the worst ports ever. Indiana Jones was it Xbox special Xbox is out there for winners only. It's a sweepstake, and I hate that crap. I mean, I don't think I would buy it, right? But still, I would love for them to come to have these available to the masses, even if it's just a limited edition, kind of like the 30th anniversary of the of the PS5 version or that 30th.
Yeah, but okay, Tech, look at that, right? And then compare that to the Indiana Jones, the Tomb Raider. Like, that's way more elaborate than what PlayStation is doing. That's why, I mean, because how much would you charge for it?
Right.
Okay, so what's the base going for? 500?
Well, this is a disc, yeah, 500.
Okay, so if they go with a disc version of the Series X, if the base is 500, it would have to run like 750 plus.
No,
so this is the thing. No,
that thing gonna be at least 1,500.
You think so? Why? Because
the way I've
did you look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
All I ever say is this is what I've been saying, and I was saying this on the space yesterday about all these the whole situation with the raps, right? Like that should have been an answer to that, right? Like they should have a rap for Indiana Jones, like they did for Starfield, all their exclusive, all these big games,
It's just
they should have one for Dragon Ball. They should have had one for
physical, like a physical,
right.
like the textures and the elaborate design and everything. It's just different.
No, I get all of that when they have a limited edition system for like a Halo for these big games, right? But I'm talking about for like major titles. Where are these console raps at?
It's crazy that you brought that up because that was the first thing that came to my mind after, like, because I saw it, but then I saw that Tech said he wanted it, and I was like, good luck, and Pony said punny things, but like,
Punty.
That was the first thing that came to my mind. Like, what's up with the raps? Did they not perform with the raps? It's like, are people?
Nothing.
Well, no. They had a few, right? And then the first one was Starfield, the first like game one, because I got that one. But you haven't heard anything. Like they could, like, these things should be easy.
Yes,
you should just be printing these things up for any game. Like Indiana Jones should have one. Let's see. Let's just be patient.
Halo, everything else, but like I've been saying, like it's been so long since they first announced
Halo had a console.
It was like 2 years. No, even then, have both in, right? With Halo, I can understand them having both. But my point overall was, it's been like 2 years since they first announced the existence of the concept of the rap, right? Like it should be at the point now, they've been doing it for so long that now, or at least more recently, or probably in the past year or so, that they should have been a part of, what's that thing they call for the controllers? Design Lab?
Oh yeah.
They should have Design Lab for the raps. And then all the major games that come out, you buy a special edition that has the rap. Or at least you go to GameStop, at least to get the rap if you're paying for like a digital pre-order or something.
Yeah.
At least for something physical to get, you get a wrap.
It's a wrap.
You get a wrap and you call it it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? You do some kind of marketing like that, but I don't know, bro. They haven't done anything with these wraps. Such a great idea. Exactly what I ask for all the time when I talk about fathead stickers and stuff, right? But exactly, because they haven't done anything. And so it's not like a failure thing, because it's never anything they really did. It's like I always say with Stadia, right? It came out. It was like, it landed his private jet.
Yeah.
Walked out the plane, it's walking down, the steps that they rolled up to it. And then at the bottom step, he fell flat on his face into a puddle of mud and then never pushed himself out the mud. And eventually he died because his face was in dirty water. That's basically what happened to Stadia. And I kind of feel that's what's going on with raps. Like they just fell on their face on some minor way and then never did anything about it until they died.
Yeah.
I know that was kind of extreme, but really.
That was pretty extreme. I just want to end the show, man. Let's good night. No, I forgot all about the raps, man. I totally forgot all about it. And I was always gung-ho by getting the Starfield one. I never got around to it, and now I just completely forgot about it until you guys mentioned it right now.
Now you got to go look for it.
Now you got to go look for it.
Because I'm sure it's still up for sale.
Yeah,
I'm sure that one's still up for sale.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I just I got a trip
But,
coming.
but I bet you a lot of people didn't buy because it got all the rainbow stuff, and it makes you think of the letters community, because they co-opted the rainbow, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. But I never heard no talk about that.
Well,
so
I
I'm not gonna lie. I
Starfield,
kind of don't like
I got
the
the
look
Starfield T-shirt, and it has that logo with the circle, and it has the color thing on
Yeah.
there, that color
Right.
sequence. And I
Yeah.
really never thought about
rainbow
it being a LGB thing.
I never thought about it either. I'm just saying that now. Maybe somebody
But now
thought
you got it
that.
in my head.
Well,
Now I'm
I've
not gonna
never
wear that
seen no
t-shirt
hubbub
anymore.
about it. Right. Except I've never seen no hubbub about this.
What's
I
up,
don't think
Steve?
that the group of
Big
people who
Steve.
thought that ever felt that way. Hey, what up, Steve?
What up, Steve?
Pico, what's going on, big bro?
Oh, that's Steve
man.
Biko.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the homie.
Man, I finally saw like there's a movie about that. I mean, with that guy, but I think he's a real person, Steve Biko.
Oh, you mean the security guy who used to be on no, but the real Steve Biko was the dude from he died recently, but who was the like the talk show host, right?
Dude, who didn't
who
die
would have
recently?
fights all the time. Who had fights all the time on his show.
Jerry Springer.
Right? Jerry Springer. So you remember like the security guy, the bald guy, eventually he had his own
Steve
show?
Wilkos.
Steve Wilkos.
Man, down this guy.
Yeah. So that name reminds me of that, but
No,
I mean, he's
it's in the
nothing like
movie.
that guy. He's nothing like him. Yeah, Steve Biko is good people. Yeah,
That's
Jerry
true.
Springer's dead. He died a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Where's my 40? I can pour some out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also posted up a second link of something that we could talk about real quick.
Anybody know anybody in Florida? Everything good?
To a couple of people. I got my homeboy Wetworks. He's all right.
Yeah.
Dragonheart Yobi's okay. Sheik's okay.
Is there going to be
Things okay.
another scam going on to get money to buy a console by
Yeah, there's always some kind of scam going
by
on.
that doo-doo
Somebody.
guy? Doo-doo gamer?
Oh, right. Yeah, probably. Who knows what's going on with that guy, right? What's going on
I'm
with
sure
that
he's
guy?
gonna be, like,
Doodoo
having a
Jenkins?
GoFundMe page.
Doodoo
so he can-
Jenkins?
Yeah. So he can get another Xbox or PlayStation or something, and turns out that nothing really happened to him.
Yeah.
You know?
What was that?
And
Doo-doo gamer?
yeah, some PlayStation fanboy.
Doo-doo
But there's,
gamer.
I mean, there's all types of stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
Doodoo
I
Jenkins.
remember Saltius was in the. He was doing some stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who's the
What
bigger
happened to that
idiot?
guy?
The people sending the money or the guy who's setting it up? Yeah.
The people giving him money.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially at this point now when it's not the first time, it's like the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th time.
People still don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god! Pulling on heartstrings and everything. You know.
Right. At that point, I don't feel sorry for them when they lose their money. It's like they said, a fool in their money, a fool parted or soon parted.
I don't know,
There you
man.
go.
Yeah. My music, man. This thing just died on me or what?
Yeah, music hasn't been playing this whole time.
Well,
This
I've
whole
been
time,
testing out the volume, and the last one, the music was way too loud. When I replayed the show, I'm like, ooh,
Oh,
the music's too loud. I need to lower it.
a little hot. So now you put it down too low.
I can't tell the real audio balancing when I'm trying to test it out here locally. I have to record it and then listen back to it to see if there's a good balance between the music and the voices. And then my voice sounded very low. I'm like, damn, it's like this whole time my voice is low, so now I have to turn it up. I jack up the gain on my mic.
Well, what other subjects do we have besides that?
That's it, man. I mean, I ain't got much.
Okay.
You said something about the Xbox Android. I got that set up, so I got
The app.
I
yeah,
really
the
haven't
app.
been thinking.
And
Man,
also
I've been gaming the
another-
hell out of the Lost Crown. I'm almost done with it. I got 2 more of those stupid constellation things to set up before I get to towards the end of the thing. So, have you guys even played that yet? I mean, I know you guys have it.
Which one?
Lost Crown.
Oh, Lost Crown.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, I haven't played
I told
that.
you
I
to get
thought you meant
You already
Starfield.
beat it?
No.
Okay.
I needed to take a break, man.
It's a lot.
Because I'm like lost.
Oh yeah, you can.
You
get
know
lost
what I mean?
easy. Oh yeah.
Like even looking at the map, I don't know what to do next. I've been back to Hades or whatever they call it, the underworld. I've gone all the way to the top of the map, but I can't figure out And there's always just one little piece that you just didn't go far enough.
Oh yeah.
I said, I'll just come back.
And then
I mean, I went through the same thing with Blasphemous and Hollow Knight.
I mean, it's and then if you don't have the special ability that you haven't picked up on, you can't go any further. Like the double jump, right? There's a double jump. There's alternate universe where you make things disappear, and it looks it's just a bunch of abilities that you need to progress in the game. And if you don't have it, there's certain parts you can't even get through.
Oh,
yep. It's
well,
good.
there's
It's
also
fun.
another link that I sent you. It wasn't just about the Xbox app when it was the second thing.
Oh yeah.
So just make sure you had that right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right in the same place in the DMs, you'll see it.
The DMs. Oh, you slam my
Yeah,
DMs,
you'll see
huh?
A little group chat that we got going there amongst us three.
No, I don't know anybody in Florida. I mean, maybe some people from my company that I've talked to, but I'm sure they'll evacuated at some point. I'm sure we'll get like some newsletter from my company, like, keep the center 1, 2, 3 in your on your minds, is prayers and stuff, thoughts and prayers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know one guy who lives in Sebastian, and then some people from Twitter. Everybody seems to be all right though.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
But I think most people, they're playing video games. They got a little money to get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You got some gas money to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But most people that I know are fine.
Good. All right, man. Did you guys play Alien Isolations 10 years ago when it first came out?
yeah,
Because
I did.
I'm an Alien fan. I love all games Alien. There's some that are better and there's some that are worse, but they're all fun to play. But this one was completely different back then, and it threw me on a loop on these survival games, but it was badass. It was badass, dude. This, I kid you not, I would play this at night, just like any other horror game that has some sort of suspense. I would turn off the lights, play on the big TV, on the 75-inch, right? Or whatever TV I had back then, right? Headphones, and just get immersed.
Yes, very immersive, sound-wise,
right?
visuals.
Because you hear all the little ding, sounds in the background. You hear the of that damn alien coming after you. And then you hear the thumping. That thumping is what gets you, right? Dude, I kid you not. Just like it did for Outlast, my heart started pumping, like just racing, dude, right? It starts racing. It's like, dude, this
like Dead Space and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude.
It's real immersive.
There were times I had to put it down, like, dude, that freaking alien is good.
Reminds me of Resident Evil back in the day. Back in the day when you played with the lights off on just your tube TV. Back in the day, it was the vibe of the time.
It is so
man,
good. And at first I was like, man, I can't attack this damn thing, right? There's nothing I can do. I have to hide. And and back then I didn't understand that. I think this was like the first sort of survival game I experienced. There's really no other one that I remember that was the same concept.
You didn't play Resident Evil back then, I guess.
No. My first Resident Evil that I actually played and finished was number 5.
Okay, that's the one I haven't played. I have a friend that I bought the game and was supposed to co-op with him and never did.
And when that Resident Evil came out, people were saying, "Oh, it's completely different to what the previous ones were." And I was like, well, I don't know anything about the previous one. All I know is, like, I know Resident Evil. I've heard they've always been good games. Number 5 caught my attention, and I played it. But this one, like I said, you don't fight back. You have to sneak around and
because you ain't got the weapons like that. It's like the original movie.
It's just like the original movie, man. And this thing is just like it made my heart pound, man, when I played this game.
So my memory of it, so if you know One Away Dragons, so this is 2013 or so, or actually 2014. So if you ever look at his early content, you'll see he always mentions how he had that first PC, and I convinced him to get SSD. The SSDs what we have nowadays, right? Back then when they were new, and they were like $500 for like 256 gigs.
That's crazy.
Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Right? And so, I made him get because he was building a new PC, right? I told him what kind of specs to get, and at the last moment, I told him about the NVMe drive, and he should get that too. The point being, for him to put his video content on there when he's editing, so that way it will be super fast to export. Which he didn't realize to do that till like the last 6 to 8 months of him using that PC before he upgraded. He didn't really understand that was the point of it all along. But anyway, so if you see in his YouTube account, his Twitter account, right? If you go way back to, I guess, early content of his or early media, you'll see where or even it's probably on his YouTube page too, maybe even early content of you'll see me turning that PC on for the first time, right? The footage, like I'm the one who turned it on for that first boot. And you know what it is when you turn on the PC for the first time after you put it together and you're crossing your fingers, make sure and hoping it posts that first time. But anyway, it was with that PC with his 1080 Ti. He had that Samsung TV where they just had where HDMI 2.0 was brand new, so 4K 60.
Yeah. With
the One Connect box, he had to get the special One Connect box because he had the display, but the One Connect box, you know how Samsung used to do, and they still do for certain models. You know, the One Connect box you get separate. He had to get the upgraded one to get 4K 60, and he recently had that for the past.
What's up, Sega man?
Sega man, what's up, big homie? What's up, homie? And so he had all of that plus the surround sound system, right? As he does, you know, because he's a big movie head. He has 10 times more movies than anybody, and all of us put together have games. I swear to you, tens of thousands of movies this guy has. I'm telling you for sure. But anyway, so he had the system. Yeah. Now imagine playing that game in the peak of home entertainment technology with the display, the 7.1 sound system. This dude had 3 subwoofers going. And the first time I heard his sound system, it literally made my heart skip a beat, and it was painful for real. No, I'm not kidding. It was not a good experience. I had to make him stop that shit. I thought something bad was going to happen to me, and I really think it did. I'm not joking. Yeah. So imagine hearing that game, seeing that game on a 1080 Ti with a 4K 60 brand. This was 2014. This was right after the console, the Xbox One and PS4 come out. Yeah. Right? Right after that, right? In like April or so, I think it came out. Yeah. This game. So, whew, that was an experience. Like, what your experience was, mine was the peak super hi-fi, if you could toss unlimited amounts of money, other than having like a super big projector or some shit. That's the only thing that would be better than that. That was the experience I had with that game, and bro, awesome, so freaking awesome,
dude. I love this game. Is amazing. I tried to get my son to play it. He wouldn't play it. It was like, he wasn't feeling it. And I was like, all right, that's no problem. I'm not gonna make you play a game. You know, force him to play it.
Yeah, a little kid like that, he might be afraid of it still.
Yeah, he'll get scared. But man, I've played it a couple of playthroughs. Man, it's so good. It's so good. You know,
yes,
that damn alien just stomping, just the stomping itself. When you hear it with your headphones on, that gets you going, man. That's like, holy shit, man, this sounds good, right?
And bro, when you hear the bass in the subwoofer, and you hear they're coming from behind you in speakers, bro.
Yeah, those robots, those creepy ass robots too.
And
then
scary.
And everything's like, it's so true to the movie. The intro, the way it started, you know,
very lore accurate.
Yes, very lore accurate. Now we have, you know, on Isolation, we have a female lead. Nobody ever had a problem with that. We're good.
Nope.
We're happy with it. Right?
Alien started with a female protagonist,
right?
Yeah.
So they don't need to make the sequel like, you know, whatever they're fucking up now.
They don't need to make her fucking like Jane Rambo. They don't need to do that.
No, just keep it true to the original, and there's no need to modify. Oh, we're gonna make it for the modern audience. It's like, no.
Yeah, and try to preach some kind of morality or, you know, some kind of thing. Don't do none of that, bro. Keep your politics out the game. Just make a game, man.
Yeah. So I was like, please leave this as such a great game, and it already has a female lead, so you should be happy with that.
Yeah.
Checkbox mark, you know.
But of course, the pendulum will swing the other way. So those people who are also extra looking for crap like that to complain about are going to complain about it so hard, and they show how fake they really are, but not really realizing that, the first game was a chick. And as I'm watching the footage now, and she just got out the pod, and you know, when you're in the pod in the Alien universe, you got to be wearing underwear. Yeah. So, and you remember Ripley, right?
It's Amanda Ripley.
You know? Amanda Ripley, that's her daughter. Yeah.
Yep.
So like, you know, in the panties and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a chick. Hello. I mean, just like Ellen Ripley. Like, oh, that's a chick.
Confirmed, right?
Get confirmed. Get dressed. You see, look right there on the screen. It says get dressed. She's in her underwear, you know? Just woke up.
That's how the movie is.
Gotta get
They're
her
all in their
That's
undies.
how the movie was. Yeah. When they use those sleep pods, they have to be in their underwear when they do it. So there you go. But man, I can't wait to see how it's gonna be.
Yeah. Same here. Did you play it real? Or you're too scared?
I mean, that's why I was so quiet, man. I don't really like horror movies, but I got it for free from Gold, and I played it. I'm like, man, I didn't play this bullshit, man.
That's what
you know, but like, well, no, that's how I felt. You know, so like, same thing with like Prey. You know, because you start playing a game and you don't feel like it's necessarily for you. And, you know, we got big libraries. So if the game don't really vibe with you, especially a game you got for free, like, we'll just go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So with all this, because see, I didn't know that it was this huge cult hit, right? Because, you know, there were certain critics that didn't like it, things like that. So when I played it, it was like, all right, you know, because it was, you know, it's free.
Yeah.
But after hearing, you know, the people who love the game and seeing the excitement at the announcement after 10 years for those who did love the first one from day one, kind of makes me want to go give it another try. Because I went back to Prey the same way.
Yeah.
After hearing people say, oh, I like this, and it was this, and it was this, I was like, let me give it another shot. So I think I might go ahead and give it another shot. I played it for maybe like 4 hours one day, but I'm not really big into horror games. But I'm gonna try to get into it. It's because like horror games try to be scary.
I'm
not scared of video games.
I know what it is. Man. I know what it is.
What?
Black people don't like scary stuff.
It's because we die first. But
usually,
but no, yeah, but I'm not. No, because like, I ain't gonna lie. Back in the day, Code Veronica did kind of creep me out, and that's one of the few horror games that I've gone all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not crazy about it because and then Resident Evil 7. I had 8 on Stadia, but Stadia went out of business, and they gave me my money back. I didn't buy it again on Xbox like I bought most of the games that I didn't own on Xbox. I might go back to that one because that one looked interesting, but I hated the shooting on Resident Evil 8 though. Did you guys play 8? Village?
What was that one?
Village. The werewolves.
Oh, Village? Yeah.
And the vampire.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you? All right.
I liked it.
So yeah, I'm not crazy about horror games, but I'm gonna go back to Isolation one of these days, especially before it comes out, and then maybe I'll be as excited as you guys are.
Well, thank you for your input. It'll be disregarded.
Okay.
Dude, I didn't say it was trash.
It's just not for you. And you moved on.
It wasn't for you. No, that's okay.
But you know, like, look, you played Death Stranding, right?
Yeah.
And everybody who likes Death Stranding is like, you got to give it at least 6 hours. Give it 5 hours.
Okay,
right?
Look, I know. I've always
no, you liked it, but that game is boring. I got 4.5 hours into it.
The boring part, like for me, the boring part of Death Stranding is not having a real vehicle to carry those stupid boxes, because you have to walk around.
But that would defeat the point.
And then here comes the rain. Oh no, it's acid. Now everything's just coming apart, and I hated that. So I always try to have like a car with me to help me out. Where the motorcycle.
But that's the whole point, to be able to balance the boxes on your back.
But I was more interested in the story, the story and the cutscenes because
they were interesting. It's a Sony game.
Yeah,
it belongs on Sony. I don't ever want to see it on Xbox.
Play it on PC,
right?
Leave that game over there. No, it was in Game Pass, bro. I played it.
Epic. Yeah, I don't want that.
I played it. I played it in
Oh, it was on Game Pass PC, wasn't it?
Yeah. I played it on PlayStation Plus when I had it, and then it was in Game Pass. So I
And
put
then it was
4
an
hours
Epic. Did you
on
get it from Epic?
PlayStation. No, no.
Oh,
You know what? I have to check my
because maybe you did.
you know, yeah, because
It's funny.
but I doubt it, bro. I doubt it because like I didn't like it and you liked it, but I kind of think that if I do give it a try, like a real, it's so boring, bro. Like
One more on the DM.
I'm walking in the wilderness. I'm getting rained on.
Uh-huh.
It's like when you're going through this cool looking robot stuff. Now the cutscenes, I'll fall into the same like pattern where I was with like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like the game was trash to me, but the story was outstanding. So like Death Stranding, dude. I think I told you. I said, bro, these cutscenes are outstanding. He needs to make movies. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Because look at the
Because he always wanted to
DMs.
be a director. This is when I said that he always wanted to be a director, and he ended up in games.
Yeah.
So,
Mech
yeah.
Warrior.
By the way, look in the DMs. Yeah. One more to talk about on the show, I guess.
Are you able to articulate? Because I haven't read the link yet.
For what?
Are you able to
What?
articulate? I'm talking to Tick, the Core Ultra 200S series.
Yes, I am able to articulate what's going on with that. That's why.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about it because I saw something about like their new ARC CPUs and they're not doing well and failing and I'm like, man, I don't know, man. 'Cause I want another player in the game, especially in the GPU side. But
Yeah,
then I
there's
heard
a lot of misinformation. I'll get into that when we get to that. But still talking about this thing, I guess. So
what thing did you ask us to look in there in this Mac Warrior
no, I'm telling Tech. I was telling Tech, hey, there's another thing, to have the link ready.
Yeah, I got the Intel, I got the app, and then that's it. Is there a third one?
Yeah, third one, the Mech Warrior thing. There's no other way I know to just like tap you on the shoulder virtually on the internet here without saying, hey, look in the DM text.
Just say, dog, I just slid into your DMs. What's up?
Yeah, that's why I said. And, hey, man, sliding through that's Rain's thing to do. Besides all that.
Slide through. Like Rain G4, right? Sliding through.
Yeah, Rain G4. Yeah, sliding through his Rain G4's territory, man. I can't steal that from him, man. That's his thing. That's the homie. So I ain't stealing from my homies. I ain't stealing from nobody. I'm especially not stealing from my homies. But yeah.
Trying
So
to say, man, you ain't gonna be like Cody Eastwood.
Nah, bro, I ain't doing none of that, man. I'm the one who told Ray about what Mag was doing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the one who snitched on Mag to Ray. Okay, it was me.
He didn't say who. He's like, because I was listening to it today.
Not
yeah,
about
I
Mag.
do have Death Stranding on Epic.
Yeah, you do. See, I think we talked about this. Yeah.
I don't know. I know we talk about Epic a lot because they give away a lot of. Man, at a period they were giving away some good games, bro. There was a period where they were giving, and it's like now they're giving away some games that I wouldn't wish them a worse enemy.
Amazon just gave away Doom Eternal PC on the Microsoft Store. Just picked up that, even though I already had it on.
Really?
Steam. Yeah, today they just started doing that.
Well,
so if you go to Twitch.tv or the Amazon Prime thing, or the Amazon app on PC, you can just redeem it.
That's funny because my son, he asked me on Wednesday, he said, Dad, can you install Doom Eternal on the PC, on my PC? I was like, yeah, I can install it.
Yeah, on Game Pass, but now you could own it.
He uses his computer under his own Microsoft account.
Right.
He doesn't have Game Pass PC. Right? I do, under my account.
So what you could do is, you could get the code and submit it on his account instead of yours.
What I did, because I have Ultimate, when he's logged into his PC with his account, I sign out of the the Microsoft Store. That's during his sign in. I sign him out. Oh,
you're game sharing.
I sign in with my own account, download the game, right? After it's installed, I sign out of Microsoft, let him sign back in, and the game is good to go. And he's able to
game sharing, basically.
Huh?
Nice. So you're game sharing, basically.
Pretty much, but you got to go through this process to get to download it first. And
right.
I did that with Minecraft because he was playing Minecraft, and now I did it with Doom, and I think I did it with one other game. I forgot what it was, but I have to sign into to the store that, when he's logged in already into the computer, I have to sign him out of the store only, log in, download, install, and then sign myself out because I don't want him just like downloading anything off of my account. And then he's good to go.
So yeah.
He's happy.
Yes. I don't know what Epic hasn't been putting up anything good like Alvarez was saying the past couple weeks. So I keep my eye on it. But I mean,
these guys get so
they
many
have the
games
ups
for
and
free
downs
from
when it
Epic,
comes
and
to
they're complaining about one game. God, these guys spoiled.
Who spoiled?
You guys.
Oh, us? We don't even like that game when we got it free from Epic. I'm not spending money for it. Now I'll spend Epic's money for it because I'm not really co-signing Epic and they bullshit at the same time. I do like what they were doing against Apple and Google, but it seems like only Google is getting in big trouble. Meanwhile, Apple gets a slap on the wrist, but in Europe, not free. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really completely the result that we wanted as a people. We as a people wanted a better result than that. But I mean, Google,
up, raise your fist.
Google's getting in lots of trouble, and that's cool. But I don't see Apple getting in the same amount of trouble for the same thing. It's but you see how it is, man. Like, Apple be getting a pass for every fucking thing they do. So whatever. But anyway, I guess we could talk about the last thing that I posted the quickest.
The
Mech Warrior 5 Clans will be day one on Xbox and PC Game Pass.
What?
Day one, yes.
Wait, is this an existing game that's
Mech Warrior 5 Clan?
Or is it because I don't follow the Mech Warrior stuff. I don't know if this
I used to play the more action games. I don't know if this is an action game. Yeah. This is more story game. But it's a new game that's coming out.
It's a new one. It's not something that exists right now on some old console. Right.
It's a story-based mech game. Okay, let me see what kind of genre it is. Right. Is it an action game or is it on Steam here?
It says here, upcoming story-based mecha game, Mech Warrior 5 Clans will be part of the subscription services at launch. The action title is launching. Oh, this month?
it's going to be on Game Pass.
6 game. Oh.
Yeah, in 5 days.
In 5 days, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Over 6 days.
So this is a strategic type of game you play with 4 players. Or you can customize your mech. There's a pot. Oh, dude. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. See, this is why I didn't remember why until now I'm saying it. Okay, let me send you the link to the Steam account because there's a lot of videos you can click on right there to see.
Guy.
2 seconds.
Get your links right.
2 seconds. I was seeing it in the middle of the show. This is news right from the middle of the show. So I just put it in the DMs. You can go to the Steam page there. They'll have video right there you can watch and see pictures of the game. But
word?
Hey, this is coming to Xbox and PC day one.
Where you
IGN had an article about it this morning. I must have missed it. I had other things going on today. And so yeah.
Steam.
Yep. Different type of looking game. It's got elements of RTS, co-op, single player, narrative type game. Very different than they've done before, they're saying. But I mean, hey man.
Were the previous
ones not
really story based? They were more just action, like
there's some of them are RTS, some of them are straight up action.
Yeah.
This seems to be I'm not really sure what you've seen the footage right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bunch of things. Look at the other pictures, right? Because that could just be cutscene right there. There's other video.
Only you control your future, Jake.
Ooh, that was loud. Yeah. Okay, that's a cutscene. But then look at that third picture that's there where you see it from inside the mech. That seemed like gameplay.
Ooh,
see? You know what I'm saying? This is what people have asked him for MechAssault. Now, MechAssault, remember, is the Mech Warrior on the BattleTech universe.
View? Is that
right? Like, this is what people wanted since from back in the OG Xbox days. But look at this. Yeah, see? And you get to make your mechs, this co-op and all of that. I don't know if this is a story-based game or an action game, or maybe it's a combination of things. I'm not even sure what's going on with this.
You know, this game will look good on VR.
Yes, right? And it's another type of game. Like VR would be ridiculous.
Man. Like looking around and you're like looking on the sides of the cockpit. You're looking behind you to see if there's anybody behind you.
But it's not VR supported. Now, if this is an Unreal Engine game, you know what they do with Unreal Engine. They got that mod thing, right? And then it makes all these Unreal Engine games instantly VR. So I don't know if this is Unreal Engine or not, but
I'm sad.
yeah, man.
Take a blood name and leave my
Free.
And it's audio.
Free.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me talk about that first again, then we'll talk about the Intel thing way later after we talk some other stuff, because that was a simple one. So the Android app will add direct game purchases and play time next month in November.
I thought we could already buy games off of it.
Off the app, apparently not.
I guess I don't
Apparently
get
not.
any purchases anymore like before.
I only ever do it off the website, but because of the ruling to open up the Google mobile store, that they're allowed to do it now.
Yeah.
And Sarah Bond just
here she is.
Posted
the
about
court's
that
ruling to
2 hours
open
ago.
up Google's mobile store in the U.S.
Oh.
will allow more choice and flexibility. Our mission is to allow more players to play on more devices, so we are thrilled to share that starting November, players will be able
Next
to
month.
play and purchase games directly. Directly.
Y'all remember me saying, man, like the PlayStation app is better because you can buy stuff off of it.
Yeah, that's not true, I guess.
I mean,
but now,
now,
man,
you know,
no, it's not buying, bro. You worse than a pony. I'm talking about buying right now. You gonna move the goalposts.
I got Game Pass.
So look,
I don't need to buy.
So look, maybe so it was Google that was blocking them.
Probably like Apple did with their store because they want to cut, and Google was the same way because Apple started that.
Google is Apple Junior. So
right,
like,
but that's what I'm saying earlier. Like Google, I'm happy that Google got knocked down by the courts here in America, right? But Apple in Europe, they kind of did, but it doesn't affect us here in America. That's what I was saying. Like, okay, great that they got at Google, and that's why I wasn't mad at Epic for that, right? Like the Epic thing was multi-level, right? I don't like their bullshit, but at the same time, they took Apple and Google to court over their bullshit, which I do support them on 100%. And now we're seeing the results of that. But for Apple, here in America, they got away with it. But in Europe, no, they didn't, right? And that's what opened up this to be possible. So, I don't know.
I don't understand like what's going on that they can get $1 trillion Google, but not $1 trillion Apple, because Apple is just as dirty, just as anti. Who would you be? The I guess anti-business, like because 30% is a lot. Now we don't know how much it costs to run an app store and all this stuff, but
wait. So you're telling me they're gonna have this app that allows you to buy games directly from the app, and then Google or Apple will get a cut from that?
We don't know. Like
that doesn't make sense because it's not a game.
It's probably is the reason why, man. Because I can't think of another reason why you wouldn't. Like it has to be it can't be 30%.
No, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. It was some shit like that. So it's the same reason why Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Forked Android to go do their own thing, right? They couldn't get the Play Store, right, on the Amazon platform without having to have all the Google services that they didn't want because they had their own services and shit. They wanted to use the Android platform open, right? And be able to sell their own stuff like you can on Windows. You can install Steam on Windows and buy directly from Steam, and Microsoft doesn't get a dime from that, and didn't try to block Valve or EA or Epic or anybody else, right? That's what Epic was saying, right? But at the same time, ironically, they're doing the same thing that PlayStation does on the PC side, right? Where they're buying exclusivity on a half-ass platform compared to what Steam is, even still. Right? Not even, right? That's the point. That's why the PC gamers were always revolting against Epic. But like I just said earlier, it's multifaceted. We all, at the same time, do support what they were doing because they were doing against Google and Apple. Were doing all this bullshit all along, right? So now it's even like you see Meta Quest, right? It's an Android device. You can install APKs and it works fine. But Google and Samsung are trying to do their own kind of headset that's basically the same thing, But Facebook had been trying with Google for the longest time, just before the release of the Quest 3, and it didn't work out, where they were trying to have them partner with Google and get the Play Store on there. Because that didn't work out, was it last week or whatever, they just announced how they're doing their own thing to get 2D Google apps on their store, to give them the back-end services like the Play services equivalent for Quest on their version of Android that the Quest runs on.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same reason why last week and the week before we talked about how the Xbox apps were all merging into one now. Yeah. Because they foresaw that Google was going to lose in the courts and they could finally do everything in one app. That's why it was all separate apps all along anyway, right? It was more complex. They were working towards all of this, and this is why it's Sarah Bond who's announcing all of this. She's behind all of this stuff. She's the corporate person at the head of all of this stuff, not Phil. He's higher up the echelon now, right? So this is why she's announcing all this stuff. This is why I bring this up. This ties into the news about the app from last week. This is the other part of that whole equation. And so everything Realist is saying about Apple and blah, 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 how they're getting away with it, that's what I was saying 15 minutes ago. That's what I was alluding to. The same thing what Realist is talking about. But
what I was just saying that Apple is getting away with it, but Google is they're having to open up.
Yeah.
We already know that the number one thing, what people say services. So we'll say services. But apps have to be number two.
Yes.
They have 1 billion cell phones out there, all collecting 30% in ad revenue. So if you don't allow another storefront, I mean, this is what I don't understand why Microsoft's not fighting. I think Microsoft's just, back when Steve Jobs said Microsoft's not good at not an innovator and they lack soul, they sure find a way to do things that make a lot of money. Because Windows has been declining for a minute. It's plateaued, not really declining. It's plateaued. So they had to find something else. Same thing with Office.
Right.
But
Steve Jobs was just a hater when he said all of that shit, though, right?
I'm not really so much talking about Steve Jobs. I'm really just talking about how Microsoft's figuring out ways around this, right? But Apple, okay, back when Bill Gates got fined the $20 billion in Microsoft and everything, and they had to open up Windows over browsers. They had to open up Windows.
Mm-hmm.
How has Apple and Google got away with this for so long? Like who? I have to do some research. I don't know who spearheaded the investigation and ultimate win over Microsoft, but
I believe what it was is, Google and Apple were able to get away with it when they first started this stuff in like 2007. Remember, the monopoly situation with Microsoft had ended already by then, but it was still in recent memory for people, right? And that was at the peak of Microsoft hate was still around, though, because of Vista and all this other stuff, right? Microsoft was super lame against Apple, who's back on the rise, right? And Google and Android were back on the rise like a year or two. Well, not back, but they were just starting like a year or two after that, right? With Android and everything else. And it was Microsoft who was the lame one, who couldn't do nothing right, and everybody was dunking on them left and right. So they let it be all good to let them do whatever they want. Right, exactly. Meanwhile, every time Microsoft tried to do all that stuff, they couldn't go all out and do it 100% like they knew they could, because their hands are handcuffed behind their backs as they're trying to do it, right? And Microsoft had their Windows Phone platform, but Google didn't want their services on there, didn't want to put YouTube and other stuff on there, but they put YouTube on Apple, right? And for a long time, iOS used Google for their search before they developed their own, right? At very first, when the iPhone was new, they had all of the Google services on there, right? All the Google apps were on there. I mean, they still are, right? But they slowly weaned themselves off of depending on them. Meanwhile, when it was Windows Phone, you couldn't even get a third-party guy to make a YouTube app or Instagram app or whoever else without them coming and cockblocking and enforcing cease and desist. That's why that platform never got to survive. And I'm telling you, as a Windows Phone fan,
third-party trying to create
at the very end. And they would do better apps than what YouTube was doing. Like Like I pay for YouTube Premium ever since they first gave away like 3-month code on Game Pass Ultimate. I've been on since gladly, right? I get no ads, even when I'm watching on TV, all this other stuff. I get to download videos on my phone with the app. Also, I have YouTube Music. I feel it's worth it, especially I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch more YouTube than Netflix, right? And it's way cheaper. I get way more out of it. Like it's like I'm getting music and YouTube all at once. But my point to saying all this is all that stuff was able to be done and allow them to do all this wild stuff that now we see how wrong it really was because they let them just because they were using Microsoft as this grand evil. And how do you kill a monster? You get another monster and you act like Zara from Godzilla. Let them fight. And that's what they did, right? Now they don't realize they let the monsters rampage for too long, but only got one of them, but the other one gets away scot-free because it's Apple, right? And they got the mojo like that, and they letting them slide. But not in Europe, though.
I think that they're gonna start with Google, and then Apple's gonna have to comply too. Because it makes. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen because Google's gonna argue that if we do it, they need to do it too.
And they would be right.
That's one of the largest sources of their wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Is their app stores and commanding 30% of purchases on their platforms. Mm-hmm. So if Google has to do it, well, see, the 30% doesn't go anywhere. They're just allowing other storefronts to exist and use those apps. Oh man, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I think they were blocking them from even having their apps on there, but maybe they don't get the 30% even, or it's a lot better type of deal.
Well, no, it's gonna be you're gonna be able to have your own storefront. Right. Us, we can have the Techno app, right? Mm-hmm. And we get access to the apps. See, that's the biggest handicap because the thing that made Apple, right, is that people still forsake Google. Yes. Apple's apps 8 out of 10 times still look better. Still have better interfaces than Google's. So I don't know if there's some type of deal where Apple says, "Hey, this needs to be first. You go over there next." But
it happens.
Other store. Because see, the problem is, if you have like the Epic Game Store, right? All they have is Epic Games. That's it. But if Microsoft and all they have is what is it? Soda Can Crush and Candy Crush. If all they have is Candy Crush, what do you need an app store for? So now they're able to offer all of the same games, have the same type of memberships that Google and Apple have through Apple Arcade and Google, whatever they call theirs. They're able to offer those same things.
That's what they got ABK for. That was the biggest reason of all, right? Like we've always said, is that.
Well, but imagine how much money that they've been giving Google over the years. Right. You see what I'm saying? Imagine, like all the biggest games. This is why Fortnite and Epic are so upset, man. Everybody's smashing 30% from them, and they're tired of it. Yeah. And this is why, like, when people defend Steam, I'm like, dude, if I'm a business, it's not. There's no difference. 30%.
I'm telling you, I explained the situation.
30% is 30%, and people and these companies are looking at their profits and losses, and I have to give these companies 30%. Now I know that Steam has revised it, so it's not as they didn't always. It was something they started like a couple years ago. Go look it up. So
I know
it's not as because it's not, and I'm not gonna argue about it. It just recent that they just revised this. So if you look at that, you're looking at everything that you have that's going out. And you're like, I have to give all of these companies 30%. This is why Epic tried to lead something, but they don't have nothing really to lead other than one game, and they bought a few other games. Right. And you can't spearhead reform with just that.
Base even further, right?
What pissed off the user base?
The fact that they would pay just like PlayStation does, right, for exclusivity on their platform.
No. I'm just talking about the things that Apple does. I mean, the Epic has and owns.
Right.
Imagine look at all of this. Yeah, that's all they have, and it's just one.
And it wasn't enough. Not
And you
enough. Right.
look at what Apple did. Apple said take it and go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? See how
Because
long
they
you
know
make
it's
it.
tough.
But Fortnite does have that type of power where people are gonna go wherever it is.
And they did.
And they
And they
did.
did.
But eventually, Epic's gonna make a lot of noise. And make no mistake, man, Tencent is with them because
Mm-hmm.
Tencent is the largest gaming publisher by revenue. And they
Yep.
have no platform. And they're watching the same 30% lead that Epic is. And they're
Oh, speaking
because
of Tencent. So speaking of
Mhm.
Tencent, I'm going to ask you a question after you're finished. I just want you
Yeah,
to finish.
that's it, man. I'm just saying that these companies and think, especially, I don't know if you guys heard what Tim Sweeney said the other day, how basically we're on the verge of crumbling as an industry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's rough, you know, and I empathize with them, but I know people who love their platforms. Just like we watch Sony, we're gonna talk about it later. Watch Sony dropping these duds. We're like,
Yep.
ha ha.
Yeah.
But as a fan, you know that they're empathizing with Sony. Like, dang man, it's really not that bad. But see, that to me, no, that's more of like a blind fanboy. It's
Right.
really not that bad.
Right.
But
I see where you're going, but no, that's blind.
but yeah, but
Yeah, you
like
realize that's what you
I
stop
just
thinking.
I just
Yeah,
I
I
just
got
see I just see what these guys are thinking, and I see why Epic keeps fighting. They got Google, but Apple's gotta do the same thing, man. Otherwise, it's unfair, and I'll start rooting for Google. Look, I
you.
mean,
Right.
I already buy most of their things. I used to buy their tablets and Nexus phones, but it's not fair. The largest company in the world gets to continue going on, but then
And they
number
bullshit.
four, and
Yeah.
then number two, three or four has to who's smaller, right? Because Apple's worth three, they're worth 1 point something. Like
Mm-hmm.
Apple should have been the example, but I guess you
Yes.
got to make an example of Google before you can go after Apple. Well, Google, we've already got Google to do this. Now you need to do.
But
And
but in
I think Microsoft's sitting back watching this because
right.
all this whole house is crumbling.
And it
Like
benefits them
what
no matter who it is. They don't care anymore.
mhm.
They have no platform in
What
mobile
what
like
what
that.
the,
So it doesn't
the
matter
real
to them.
problem? You have to hear what Satya says, right? You have to hear what Phil Spencer are saying in these CNBCs and all this,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
They're watching us, but they need to be watching the people who make more money than everybody else and don't contribute to gaming.
Right.
Now,
They've always said that.
you're talking about Google and Apple.
Yeah. But see, in Europe, they're not playing that. That's only here in America, right?
Well, that's not an American company. I mean, a European company.
But Europe still, the EU still, hey, they spanked Apple, right? They spanked them on the butt. Like, you're gonna have to open up your platform now,
Mm.
right? So they forced them with USB-C, which we all benefited worldwide because of the nature of how that works, right? But also with their with jailbreak and all that other stuff that they have in Europe, but we don't have here, right? So Google, I don't know the specifics of it, but I'm sure they're not cutting away with their crap either over there, just like they're now not able to over here. On top of that, right? So, I mean, it's just Apple who's getting away with. That's why I said it even before you said it, but like you said it in a different way. Now everybody realizes what I was saying minutes before, right? You were way more eloquent at it, but like Apple is the one that's getting away with it here in the U.S. where it matters the most.
Well, it's kind of like when Apple went after Samsung, right?
Yeah.
Apple won here but lost in Korea.
Yeah.
It's like they're all trying to protect their GDP. So forcing Apple to open themselves up to others, that's helping companies who are from Europe prosper. Whereas them doing it to Apple here doesn't necessarily help the United States.
Nope.
It's like everybody's going to look out for their own too as far as they can. But eventually Apple, if they're doing this to Google, man, they got to do it to Apple, man. That makes no sense at all.
Exactly.
And if they do it to them too, who's to say they're not going to go after all the storefronts for their cuts?
Right.
Because just because they're bigger, right? We're supposed to be on this quality thing, right? Doesn't mean that they get to do it differently than everybody else. Now, what they need to do is police themselves before government intervention takes place. That's
But
what I
that's
would
why
do if I was
also
a
with
business.
Steam,
I would have 100 to 1,000, however many I need on the horn, talking to everybody who they can talk to, all of our business partners, everybody who has an app. Hey, what's a more agreeable percentage for you? You know what I mean? Before you get government intervention.
right? But that's also why you see with Steam, they did that other thing where was it last week or the week before? They're like, yo, if you want to sue us, you can, right? They
That's for
let it
us, though,
be.
right?
Right, but that's for us though. But I'm just saying though, like this is what I was trying to say to you about this Epic versus Steam thing. Epic did the PlayStation type move, so the user base don't give a fuck about the whole behind the scenes thing. That's up to these companies when they doing their 30%. Like we don't care about that. You can care about all you want if you're investing. Okay, fine, whatever. You invest in Tencent, which I'm about to finally ask you that question, right? But us, the users, we don't care because all we see is what Epic is doing, and their platform is ass in comparison to Steam
Oh
that benches the
shit!
record for us.
You trying to
So
say
it is
I'm
what it is.
biased?
but anyway, speaking of, right? No, I'm not trying to say you're biased, and I do not mean that. I do not think Realist is biased. I'm making that abundantly clear,
It's
right?
too late now.
Okay,
You said it already.
but also, okay, Realist. As an investor in Tencent, though, we discussed that other situation with them with Ubisoft, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you think, bro?
Nothing's gonna change.
I don't think so either.
Like a lot of people ran with that, and I've seen videos like on my, what do you call it? The whatever your homepage is, the homepage on YouTube. So many of these erroneously titled videos. Nothing's gonna change.
Nothing's gonna
Like
change.
the gear modes are in bed with Tencent.
Right, to keep the status quo.
Everybody's in bed with Tencent. Tencent owns 50% of the parent company.
Yep.
So they're in. And if anybody, who's going to outbid Tencent? Because the people who are making the most noise are a super duper minority.
Yep.
In Ubisoft, the people that they're 1%.
Yep.
And a lot of these people came from Activision, right? Once they got pushed out by Microsoft, they went over there, and then some of them have been there, but they're all very, very minority, right? And what they're trying to do is buy shares. But at the end of the day, who's going to outbid Tencent? There will be no hostile takeover. You know what I mean? Vivendi tried that, and they didn't have Tencent back then. Ubisoft didn't have Tencent to back them. But nothing's going to change. There's something about that family that Tencent's rocking with. Either they can control them, or they take direction. I don't know what it is, but the Guillermo family's still going to be over Ubisoft. And a lot of people were taking it and think they're going to get pushed out and things are going to change at Ubisoft. I don't have a problem with Ubisoft. The problem now is with Ubisoft is the same as it is with most other Western studios. Is this Inclusion Act, and that's where people are upset with Ubisoft and other studios like them. And speaking of that inclusion, because I was gonna put it on Twitter, man. There's a character in Final Fantasy 16, man. That I was gonna put. Now, this is how you do gay in a video game. Like, if you play the game, Dion is gay, and you don't even care. He held his boyfriend's hand and told him that I'll come back to you, but he didn't need to go out of his way to say he was gay. Yeah, he had a ruffled shirt on, but some of these games they go so out of their way to say how gay somebody is. And I think that's the problem that people are really having. But we're going to have to learn that it's going to be, what's that?
Let's go ahead, finish that. Sorry, I don't want to cut you.
No, I was going to say, we're going to have to learn there's going to be something like that in the game. It's their presentation of it that they're failing at.
Well, when a new game comes out and it has some sort of thing like you're talking about, like they come out way before the game comes out and says, "Hey, this character is gonna be gay," or like, why does that need to be announced?
Well, it doesn't, and I think they're learning that. This is all a learning experience, man. Like, a good game is a good game. You know what I mean? And the problem with this whole thing is they aren't making good games for the majority, whether they're just protesting or not. They're not making good games. All right, people aren't vibing with the games. They got to do a better job. It's like The Last of Us 2. PlayStation fans still loved it, even though they brought her out as gay. It's just she had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was just like any other relationship.
Yeah.
You don't need to be paraded. But yeah, when it comes to Ubisoft, man, nothing's gonna change. These people are excited. They're excited, and that's why the CEO said what he said. You know, about how gamers are detestable and this and that and the third. You know, because people are actively rooting for Ubisoft to fail, right? But they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Just like PlayStation, you know, we're like, man, we went on the duck. That's Xbox. Man. Yeah, we went on the duck. But dude, they ain't going nowhere. Apple, Amazon, Google, somebody's gonna buy them and they'll live on. They just won't be under Sony's ownership. You know, it's the same thing with Ubisoft. Ubisoft's gonna have to revise because, like I tell y'all, Fink and all these other huge big time investors are telling these companies that they need the governments are involved. All the Western governments are involved, and they're trying to push that on the East, and the East is rebelling. So it's like a whole initiative to love people who aren't like you. So it's not going anywhere, but they just need to do a better job about how they present it. Because it's, you know, it's just like when black people, Mexicans, whoever, I still see white people upset. I see white people that get upset, and now that Elon has opened it up, I see people get upset when they see interracial relationships, when you see interracial commercials.
Hell
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that.
Well, when I went walk, I remember this one time, and it has to do with what you just said about the interracial relationships. My wife. Well, this is, God, I don't know how long. I think this is way before we even got married. We went to Vegas with some friends, and we're walking through one of the casinos, and I was with her side by side, and a group of some brothers.
Sorry
walked
about
by,
that. I'm back.
right? A little like 2 or 3 of them in the group walked by, and they were checking her out,
Neighbors.
and they saw that I was with my neighbors, right? And
Yeah.
and they saw me, and they're like checking her out, and they looked at me, and they're like, "You?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, and they came up and fist bumped me, like, "God, dog." Told you, man. I'm in with the neighbors, man.
Cool. You with the neighbors. You down with the neighbors, son. I feel you.
Yeah. That's how I roll, man.
Yeah, man. You down with the neighbors. So, yeah. So, like I said, we're gonna leave that Intel thing till later. What other things you said you wanted to talk about from before?
Okay, so Until Dawn, man. What's going on with this bad boy here, man? It's like it's the most poo poo.
So let me ask a question because I don't know nothing. Until Dawn makes me think zombie game, right?
No.
And you know how I feel about zombie games.
It's like a thriller, a story based thriller. It's one of those decision
Like
games.
a Superman. Isn't it a Supermassive?
I think yeah, and it's one of those decision games. It's like if you do this, this might happen later on in the story. Yeah, it's one of those
what's that game that just came out? The Quarry.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Just like
Man of Medan and all those.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, like that one company used to make those games. They were known for those.
But I'll tell you, if you guys have not played Until Dawn,
Dream, like Detroit.
Until Dawn, if you haven't played it, it is really good, right? Minus this whole.
Yeah, it's also on PS4.
Right. I played it back when it first came out. It is really good.
So they ported it, you're saying, and it's flopping even worse than
Well, it's performing. Like, I mean, I don't know if it means performing like performing on the PC or performing as in sales, right? So it's like,
oh, you don't know which. That's not a good look.
Last week peaked at just 2,600, making it the worst debut since Concord and Sec.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
So it's not. I don't know. Look, seriously, I don't know why, because it is really a good game. I'm not even lying. I'm not joking or anything like that. It is a good freaking game.
Doesn't matter how good a game is if people played already, don't feel they need some remaster, right? And Sony's been doing a lot of those, and their player base, once again, they don't buy games, bro. Yeah. They just don't. Let's keep it a buck. That's what it is. Yo, all those crows, all them chickens have come home to roost when it comes to that with Sony. Yeah. That just is what it is. That's what it's been all along. They're screwed. in terms of that. I don't see it getting no better for them. And
Like, have you seen the comparisons?
What Concord?
No, I don't know nothing about this. I don't know nothing about this. It's not a game I ever, like I said,
Bro, look at the comparisons, and you'll see how egregious this is.
Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
It's not that big of a difference, especially when they're charging full price for it.
Oh, you see, once again, charging full price. Like, to a player base who already don't buy games, now you're trying to sell something that they don't need to buy. Like, no. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. Okay, so my little rant there about Sony and their situation, this is what it is. It still fits. Yeah. Right? There you go.
But I mean, outside of this, I'm telling you, man, it was a good, and it has that guy from Mr. Robot. I don't know if you watched that show.
Yeah, I know him from the Pacific, and he also did in the movie he played dude from Queen.
Yeah, so he's in the game. He has a big part in the game. It's really good.
Oh, sick, and it's 30 frames.
What?
Yep, it's already, the PS4 version was 60. This one's 30. It's buggy. Yes. You know, like, but you know, I've told you guys, I've had bots on Legal Show tell me, I know this dude ain't capping for Sony, but dude, Sony, I applaud them because they have to get people buying their games. They have to generate interest in any way they can, and they have to sell their games for more money.
This is not the way to do it.
It's not the way to do it, but if it comes down to them selling the same games over and over to the same people, they're gonna do it until it runs dry. Because
it's already dry.
that $200 to $400 million has to come from somewhere. Yeah. So like that Concord loss has to be recouped somehow, and they need people there for their games, because when the future comes, and for whatever reason, if people don't want to be there, you know, and they lose to Microsoft or they lose to Nvidia's platform, whatever, they need people there for them, because when the time comes and they get pushed in the corner the way they did Nintendo and Sega, they need people there for them. Because when they push Nintendo into a corner, Nintendo says, we got us. And they double down on their games. Mario Tennis, Mario Foosball, Mario whatever. And Zelda. Oh no, it was Link, and now you're getting Zelda, you're getting Mario Brothers, whatever it's Brotherhood, you're gonna get that. Right? You get Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Potato, Pokemon Ruby, Pearl, you get all those games, but the people are invested in those games and they've been there since day one for those games. And that's what, and Microsoft doesn't have it either, but Microsoft has Game Pass. PlayStation definitely doesn't have it. Because when you look at the most played games, you don't see a PlayStation game there. The difference in Microsoft and Sony is that Microsoft can go buy those games that are at the top of their most played lists. That's the difference in the two. But PlayStation has to keep pushing these games out. They have to keep pushing these.
They really do.
They do because they're watching everybody else make more money than them on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, if you had a platform, that would offend you. It's like, damn, why can't we get this interest? They have to go pay people to act like they own their games. They're gonna try to pay Rockstar. They've been paying Square Enix. They're paying everybody that they can to act like they own the game, because they don't have a game that can bring people there outside of Spider-Man that they pay for. You see what I'm saying? Spider-Man and maybe God of War. And I can't even give it to God of War the way I gave it to 2018, because they sold bundles. They sold God of War bundles for like almost 9 months or to a year. Like there was a long period stretch of time that you didn't see a PlayStation on the shelves without a God of War on the box. Yeah. So far, Spider-Man and the one indomitable thing I can say is Spider-Man is the most dependable IP, and they don't own it. And they need people there for their games. People, the real PlayStation fans are asking for remakes of games that they want, right? Bloodborne and this and that, but they're not gonna get Bloodborne, But they're gonna have to. I don't know why they won't do like WrestleGun. Bring back Killzone. Stop trying to create competitors to everything. Stop trying to buy into everything. Call of Duty, they acted like they owned Call of Duty for 10 years. You know what I mean? And then they brought Deviation in to make a Call of Duty competitor. I mean, you did a good thing bringing in Bungie, who was doing something totally different. Not really, but different. You know what I mean? Because it was basically Halo with superpowers. But they got to get people there for their games. I've said this so many times. We can make fun of them, but I'm not gonna knock them for trying, because what else can they do? They're not willing to give the game, because you remember back in the day we used to get games and it would be free,
right?
Or included.
Well,
now
I'm gonna knock them, not because they're trying, but because how they're trying. Yes, they trying. I don't knock that, but it's how they try, and the fact that they really think that's gonna push the needle for them. Why do they even see?
I don't think that they think they do. I think they hope.
But see, it goes back to, I remember what Shuhei Yoshida said when the PS4 first dropped and it was doing very well, and he said they literally don't know why it's doing well. That was a bad people, bro. How could you be selling something and then you admit to the world you don't know why you're doing well? That means you don't, like, it's luck for you, and then one day when your luck runs out, you're screwed and you don't know, like, and this is where they're at now, right? It's not the effort that they're putting. Of course, it's supposed to. And I'm very concerned as Sony as a corporation, because they used to be the Apple of our era of youth, right? Remember what they used to be. The way Apple is now, that used to be Sony, with the same cocky attitude to do whatever they think they want to do, and it will be okay, and they would win at it anyway. That was Sony, right? Even in video games, it's why their player bases acts the way they do, right? Partially, right? But I have real concern for them. But their efforts that they put in is like no effort, because they truly seem to not understand what it is they're doing to even fix their situation. So all these attempts, we all know they're gonna flop. We all know they're gonna flop before it happens, and we say it out loud, and then it happens anyway. And they're all shocked and scandalized when it does, and that's not no fanboy-ish. That's like, bro, I'm not like knocking them for trying. I'm knocking them for trying like that and thinking it was gonna do anything, but just like you said, it's nothing but blind hope. They're praying one thing will. It's like a monkey throwing a shit on the wall. Eventually, they're hopeful that something sticks.
That's just gross.
This is what it is, though.
Because there's no exact science. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
right, but they don't know
the
any
Switch.
of the science. Right.
The Switch was a Hail Mary. You know what I mean? They were in big trouble.
Yes, it was.
Nintendo was. So they threw this Hail Mary. We're gonna get.
Oh, but at least it was a cohesive plan when they did it, though. It was a cohesive attempt.
If it didn't work, right? It's always revisionist, right? It's like, if Xbox came out in 2013 and said DRM, and everybody was like, okay, that's fine.
Right.
Then everybody would be like, it's great.
Right.
Xbox on top. But the Switch just happened to work, because I remember everybody saying it was going to flop.
No, that's my experience was very different. The hardcore video game players would actually tell the Nintendo heads. It was the Nintendo heads was like, nah, this ain't going to work. Right. Or there's this one guy, you might have seen me a couple months ago curse him out and say how I supported him as, when bad shit was going on. Take the laugh, you must remember, right? This guy's a hardcore Nintendo head, right? He lives out in Death Valley. I used to refer to it as Satan's asshole, right? And that town started in 1800s, like years before AC was even invented, decades before AC was even invented, and that area gets up to like 120 plus back then, right? And so he's a die-hard Nintendo head, but he thought, and many others like him, thought the Switch would fail. But the hardcore of this, from my perspective, was like, yo, this is going to do well. And we were validated off rip, like it did well off rip, right? I mean, it was lax in software early on, and then they started to port a lot of Wii U stuff that didn't sell well back when it was on the Wii U. and they all made their money back on the Switch, right? Like they all were successful like they had hoped they would have been all along on the Switch, to buoy that platform software wise before they made new and fresh stuff, to keep up with. And for 7 years they've been kicking ass. So you have often said, now I'm not trying to knock you when I say it, but I'm just saying objectively speaking, like you really came back into gaming at one point. So maybe at the point when you were seeing that you didn't see or understand the way you would like the way you do now the industry, but it's hard.
No, I've always understood, but when I was in school, I wasn't playing games, and when I came back, it was a whole new world of console warring.
Right.
But I always read about it. That's why my wife was like, "You need to go play games," because I was reading about it on the internet.
She's such a bad influence, man. You need to go play games.
Man, she's an awesome person. Well, every time you tell the story, I'm like, that's a good one.
You don't hear that from a woman, man. Go play games.
Well, because I would talk to people. Yeah. Back I'm that guy. Like when you talk about video games in the store, I'll talk about video games. We have a real conversation. I'm gonna act like you're getting on my nerves. When her little brother would come around telling me about his PlayStation, I would listen and talk to him.
Is Playtendo?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Playtendo, man. PlayStation.
I don't know.
Nintendo.
Okay, so yeah, she just noticed that I was talking about. She just noticed that I was engaged in video games, even though I wasn't playing the video games. But I didn't. The first thing she bought me was Wii U. I had a Wii because everybody had a Wii.
Right.
And then for my birthday, she got me a Wii U. And I first thing I did was I said, man, it's not gonna last long. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, they didn't sell a lot of them. She said, so? I said, well, because we had I don't know if you guys know, like Asus used to make tablets, and we had a transformer. It was like one of the first tablets that had a keyboard. And I said the same way they dumped us with that, and we had Motorola phones. You remember the Motorola phones that had the speakers and stuff?
Yeah.
You could put a camera on the back of them. I said, if things don't get purchased, they stop supporting them.
Yep.
I said the same reason why I tell you guys stop buying your mom and dad those cheap ass tablets, because they're gonna create a new one next month, and they're not gonna support that one next year. So anyway, I said they've only sold 14 million of these. I didn't think the Nintendo was gonna dump it the way they did, and the way the Nintendo dumped the Wii U is the same way Sega
from the Dreamcast. That's what I was gonna say.
The Saturn.
Yeah, well,
for the Dreamcast.
Well, on the Saturn for the Dreamcast, but at least with the Saturn, it lasted more years than people realized. But mainly
but the Saturn might have lasted longer. But we live here. Like you told me, we're not in UK, so I can't give you military time. So look, the Saturn didn't last long at all.
Yeah,
before the Dreamcast came, and that's what pissed a lot of people off.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, the way Nintendo dropped the Wii U, but see, Nintendo just has that power, that IP power, and that's like because just check it out. We're making fun of PlayStation, but they're only doing Xbox sees the bigger competitors and tries to get ahead of them or be like them. They're looking at Tencent and they're like, damn, Tencent's making more money than everybody, and they're not wasting their time with the console rigmarole.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, listen to me. See, but this is what I'm saying, the differences and why I felt and others who were hardcore about it knew the Switch would be successful when Nintendo fans, and it's what I'm saying, my perspective was different, and the other people I spoke to and would see on the internet who were hardcore about the details. Like I always mention how the games press used to be very different, right? The discussion around the games industry before the beginning of last generation, right? In the 360 era and all throughout that generation, and even towards the very end of it, right? The discussion around video games, and if you did something bad to the community, the press would talk about it. Enough gamers would be against what they did, right? And there will be a comeuppance, right? Either there's mea culpa, or there's a comeuppance, or both, right? Like the gaming community was more unified, right? about these topics. And the hardcore who observed what was going on was like, yo, what Nintendo was doing is a risk, but highly likely to succeed. But the Nintendo fans weren't seeing it that way. You said that you weren't seeing it that way, and it was my perspective was different, right? But and the perspectives of many were different. But I understand how you're saying perspective-wise from the perspective of these companies. It's all a risk, no doubt. But there's a difference between the risk that Nintendo took with the Switch, right? And what Sony is doing with these things that are failure after failure after failure. And even Ubisoft lately, right? With all of their failures in recent times, right? It's like, how do you not understand that the thing you're doing isn't going to work out and blow up in your face? This is why Assassin's Creed, apparently, in my opinion, they realize it needs more time in the oven. And that's why they're doing it. Right?
Well, supposedly the developers kind of like the developers with 343 asking Microsoft for more time.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly they asked for more time on Star Wars too.
Right.
And so instead of them rushing out 2 games,
they rushed out 1.
Because you got to understand, man, Ubisoft, I know a lot of like Steam loyalists don't care, but they were trying to build their platform. They were trying to build out their subscription service. Oh, right? No, because you got to remember they were on Stadia trying to push that service. They've been working with Microsoft for years until they finally got here with their subscription service. They're trying to build their platform, trying to build their subscriptions. Yep. And it just didn't work. So, but to have a subscription service, the main thing you need is content. The unfortunate thing about Ubisoft is all their games are $15 after 2 months. So pretty much any Ubisoft game that's available, you already own it if you wanted it.
Right.
And so you bought a subscription service full of nothing. So how do you keep people? Churn is an issue. People always like to bring up Microsoft's churn. Everybody deals with churn. Even Netflix deals with churn. So they need content. This is why Microsoft's buying all these studios. It's not to sell more consoles. They need content for their service and to sell. And this is what Ubisoft's looking at. Ubisoft's trying to flesh out their service. Ubisoft's trying to flesh out their app store or whatever. And that might have been a contributing factor as to why they were trying to push these games out. Because I know, like, a lot of people had Ubisoft fatigue. They would have a whole lot of different games.
Yeah.
You look at what they had
and looking like they're too early, and they came out too early out the oven. Stuff like that makes people feel, and multiple things. That's just one aspect, but multiple things. That's just the one.
But look at a game like Riders Republic, though.
Yeah,
it's
great game.
It's like, I mean, it's a great game, but nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
I think that left with SS. I think that left with SSX tricky.
Yeah, I think so too. It was a great game at the wrong time too, but they didn't really even give it the attention and love for people, to even know about it. The fact that it was on Game Pass and all that. But the one thing, I will say about Uplay, when we talk about, we always have this eternal debate about Epic and Steam and blah blah blah. Now, what Uplay, EA did was very similar, right? They try to do their own thing, and if you notice, people were like, "Fuck it, man, we're not buying that shit until you're on Steam, right?" But we didn't get at them like they did with Epic because it was that's a different thing. I'm really telling you, don't want, that's fine. But what I will say though is, right? They went, they tried, and Ubisoft in particular, I always like, because if you're on Stadia, you bought one of those Stadia games, you still own the PC version because you were licensed to it on Uplay, right? So when Stadia was gone, all those Ubisoft games, you still had access to them because they were in your Uplay account,
right?
They were all along, like the way they did it was great. I have a grip of PC games. I wanted to take a picture of all 3 Battlefields that I have on PC. 2, the expansion packs, Special Forces for 2, and 2142. Okay, that's the 3 boxes. First 2 a CD, and then 2142 was on a DVD, which was a new thing at the time. For a PC game to be on DVD, right? You know what they did with that, and why I'm bringing that up? You remember EA Origin before they had the EA app? It was EA Origin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your disc-based games. You take the CD from that, you put it into Origin. Now you have a digital copy of those games. These discs are worthless now. Well, I mean, they're not.
That was too much. That was too much like right.
that was exactly the way it should have been done, right? And
That's what I'm saying. Too much like right. That's why they stopped.
That's probably why they stopped. Well, actually, no, they never really did, but they stopped making physical copies of games, so it didn't really matter, right? But if you have those games, you can go and you could submit the key into EA app, the EA app now instead of Origin. Still works, as far as I know, right?
If you look at EA back in the day, they tried to make it to where you could only have one disc, right? You couldn't sell it because you had to enter that password that was on the disc to play online.
Yeah, right.
And that pretty much made it worthless.
Right, with console games. Yeah, but on PC, you always had a CD key, right? Because there was piracy and stuff, right? That was the answer to piracy.
I got out of the habit of dealing with EA. That's the reason why I got a console back in the day to begin with, because
got tired of EA's
EA,
yeah.
Rockstar, 2K, everybody left PC.
Yeah.
Talking about a piracy.
Yeah.
And
then
I got out of
back, right.
I got out of the habit of buying EA games on PC because like they weren't there.
Right.
I remember Doc tried to go at me with it. Like, cause Doc like he's all knowing. You know what I mean? Shout out to him, man. You know, he disappeared. But nah, it's two things I ain't never calling for it. I just left him alone because I don't need to be right. It's just he told me that I was like, no, man, my Neo Geo only had 4 buttons. He's like, no, it had 8. I was like, no,
bro. They have 4 in the start button.
I just said, oh, okay. It did, because bro, we had 4 buttons. You only needed 4 buttons. All the games played with 4 buttons.
It was 4 buttons, and on top of that, like, okay, if you purchase arcade boards, right, and you get like a super gun or whatever, a super gun is a device that lets you play arcade games on your TV, right? The standard connector is a Neo Geo controller connector because the JAMA standard is 4 buttons. Street Fighter is 6 buttons, and they have a thing that's called a kick harness, right? An extra connector, right, to get the 3 buttons for the kick buttons that were extra 3 buttons, right? But the arcade standard of JAMA is 4 buttons, so people would use Neo Geo on the connector, the arcade stick, the pads if you had, right? That's what they would use, even on like the Mister thing, if you ever heard of that, right? With arcade games, like that's what they would do. So yes, Neo Geo very specifically, I know, and it is why I don't forget, right? Because I know these other details. Like, bro, 4 buttons. But motherfucker want to argue about 8. I remember that debate now.
But see, that's the two things, because he told me, "What are you talking about? Ain't nobody leave PC." I was like, "Bro, yes they did."
Yes, they did.
Because well, Steam was even there when they left PC. Steam got stronger and they came back because I got
That's why
I had 2K17. That's the last PC disc I bought. Yes, is it 7? The one with Kevin Garnett on the cover.
I think so. I think it was that one.
Yeah, because they all left. They all left, and he was like, "No, they didn't. They never left." And then when I said, "Bro, EA, 2K," because I got I got the BioShocks. I still got the ISOs that right. So you know what I'm saying. So like, I know they left, and I know why they left, and that's why I'm not a pirate anymore, because I was contributing, especially to the problem. You know what I mean? And so I know they left. And he was arguing me, and I said, "Okay,
whatever."
And all right, but yeah, so. Yeah, a lot, man. Next
here is Bethesda custom Indiana Jones Xbox Series X console. Big old gold block. That's straight up just a big gold block.
Big old gold block
for that treasure he was looking for.
And then look at that controller. Yeah. It looks like it's got a bunch of rubies for buttons.
Yeah.
That's fly though.
But it's actual gold or gold plated or something, or what? Because it's like limited, like you gotta win it or something. It's a sweepstakes.
Yeah, it's a sweepstakes.
Yeah, it's a sweepstakes. Man. All this is always sweepstakes. And
it looks like leather on the front.
Yeah, it looks leather on the front. The buttons are shaped like gems,
rubies and gems. Yeah,
they're gems. Everything else is gold plated or colored.
I was about to scroll down the thing in the Discord when I'm like, oh wait, this is your desktop.
And then
Oh, you did it.
I do like the stand and the box that it comes with. So I wonder if this is a stand for the Xbox to go in. You just take off the top part and just expose it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It would cost more in the PlayStation thing because it comes with fancy boxes. It's for your controller, and then but there's also a place for your controller on the little mausoleum looking thing.
Yeah, I see the indentation there.
Oh, it sure does. Yeah,
right in the front. Yeah.
So
you didn't
my
realize it
question
either.
would be like, does this square or this rectangle pop off? You just put the Xbox there and then slide it back on top.
I would think that like just for like when you want to complete the whole setup, you slide it over the top. I don't think you could operate it.
No.
Yeah,
You can't operate. Yeah, because it'll get too hot.
Hey, but what if? What if there is a place in the back for it to breathe? Nah, because it sucks from the bottom though.
It sucks from the bottom, blows it up on top.
Sucks from the bottom. Yeah, it blows out the top, right?
Yeah, that's
so I don't know.
Pause.
No diddlers over here. No diddlers over here, buddy.
But you know what? I mean, they come out with some nice ones, man. They always come out with some like special edition console. You know, we had the Tomb Raider, that was super elaborate too. The Tomb Raider one.
Yeah.
And
that's the best one.
Yeah, and then we got this one here. So yeah, these are. But I never see an announcement like, because I don't search for it really, but because it gets forgotten after a while. But I would like to see somebody like post something. Hey, look what I got! Yada yada yada.
You want to see it? You go look on eBay.
Other than eBay, yes. You know?
That thing was on sale for $30,000. That Tomb Raider one.
Was it? And how many was there?
I only saw one. Somebody bought it. Obviously.
That's crazy. It's nuts. Yeah, I wouldn't pay
that. I mean, every now and then we get some, and not like we have a shot at it. I mean, because I tried to get the SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The SpongeBob.
I tried. That was the one I tried. And then the Galaxy, you can still get the Galaxy one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's just, but that's not elaborate.
I just want that controller from that Halo Xbox. And this guy got the controller. Don't want to sell it to a brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you trying to buy it too?
I always wanted it. I always wanted it.
Yeah.
He's always wanted it.
I told him you don't use it. You might as well let me buy it from you.
Yeah, I don't.
Right, that's what I said to him. He don't want to do it, bro. He just want
to have his little Master Chief man and let him hold it.
He already got too many controllers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I wouldn't really play it either. But I like the design. That probably would be my main controller.
Let me see if I can. You're not watching the feed on YouTube, are you?
Yeah. Not on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube.
But I could click on it.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
I was trying to.
No, I can get on YouTube.
I was gonna rotate the camera. Rotate the. If it.
Okay, I'm gonna go to it right now. Hold on.
If it can go all the way over there.
1 second here. Where are you? Jesus Christ.
Let me turn off the AI thing.
No.
I see you.
Wrong way.
I see you.
Okay, now it's going the right way.
You can see the wrong way.
And there it is.
Oh, that camera is a lot better looking now. Wow.
Wait, I missed it. Hold on. Come on. There
it is.
You can't navigate. And does it? It's not focusing. Oh, because it got the blur thing. Hold on. Let me turn off the blur. All right. So there's that.
Oh, the picture quality is so much better now that you turn off whatever effects was messing it up. Oh my God. That looks like the videos.
Now let's see. Can
you? Oh yeah! Wow. Oh, okay. The lag ain't too heavy either. That's nice.
Oh, is it? Come on, turn. Oops, no, not that way.
It's like 5-second lag. That's all. Okay. All right, YouTube.
All right.
And you said the Titanfall controller. I gave that away to somebody. I gave it with my Xbox One X. I think it was.
Yeah, there it is. That's the best I can do right now. That's my collection. Yeah.
Wow.
I just got them all stacked up. And just waiting.
So I got the 20th anniversary controller with the matching charging dock.
Yeah.
And that's my main console controller. So yeah, it looks pretty good. And then I got the Elite controller for my PC. But
I got
like we
the
discussed
Scorpion
before,
controllers just hanging on the wall Also, if you see that on the right side of
Yeah, man. You got way too many controllers, bro. You need to come up off those, bro. You need to come up. No, I don't want any with the Halo one, so whichever.
All right. So
Oh, by the way, my brother for my birthday, he bought me the Absolute controller that we were talking about on that phone controller from Kickstarter. So I'm supposed to get one of those soon. But yeah, that's fabulous picture quality, bro. That's a great camera. Look at it. Look at him.
I know it keeps moving.
Look at this Mexican right here. This Mexican right here. Look good. Look good.
And yeah, this thing. I'm watching it. I'm watching the OBS feed, and I see it like anytime I slightly move, it like zooms in like into my. There you go. See, like it zooms in.
Yeah.
And then zooms out. It's a great camera, man. Looks good too.
Yeah. Just zoomed in a little and then zoomed out. Yeah. Okay, they just need to firmware. Oh, did you have any firmware updates on your camera?
Not yet.
Because I read about it.
It's updated,
I'm trying to look it up.
There's nothing recent.
Oh, okay. But there might be firmware updates for the camera in and of itself.
Yeah.
I don't know how the software works.
They push it out
to do the updating.
When you start up the application, it tells, hey, you have a firmware update. I'm like, okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay, then so you're up to date, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure eventually they'll fix it, or you'll figure out what option you need to click on to get it to be the way you want. But yeah, bro, just Mexican looking ass. Look at you. That's a schmexy man. That's a schmexy man right there. But yeah, man. So what was the last topic besides the incel thing?
The Halo. I've been organizing. Okay, so they're renaming.
Yes.
Microsoft rebrands Halo developer 343 Industries to Halo Studios, and okay, they come out with this whole spiel about what Chapter 1 was Bungie, Chapter 2 is 343. Let's just say it, dude. You don't know what to name your studios, and it just made sense to call it Halo Games because it's all you make. You know, it's all you do anyways. And so,
I was saying once again in the spaces yesterday, right? Like 3 things. This is a rebrand. That's all. But I mean, nowadays the articles are addressing it as such. When the news first dropped, like the narrative was a little different. But now the reports are accurate in the headline and stuff. Number 1, it's a rebrand. Number 2, I don't like the new logo. I think it's ass. Right? Or the 4th thing, I just don't like the design of the logo.
What's the logo?
Of the Halo.
It's like Halo, and it's like in the balloon letters. It's ugly.
It's an ugly logo. Right? And actually 4 things. Yeah, of course the fanboys is gonna do what they do. Here are the PlayStation fanboys. Now they port begging already and trying to talk all this crap, right? But the 4th thing, the most important thing is the move to Unreal Engine 5, and this is what I was saying in the spaces yesterday, right? 2 years ago or whatever, when Bonnie Ross got fired and all this other stuff, and they canceled all this further development for Infinite in terms of single player content, right? Now we see what the plan was, because they've been working with the Unreal Engine for a couple, at least a year now, right? Prototyping stuff.
Wait, don't they use Unreal for Gears of War?
Yes.
No, but that's the Coalition, not 343 or now Halo Studios, right? These guys weren't familiar with Unreal, and they were hiring people for Unreal. Remember all those news articles you would see all the time, right? It took time. See, we had a 2-year period of almost no man's land where we didn't know what was happening, right? Now we see in hindsight, they were doing pretty much everything people said that they should do, right? Chief amongst them was to move to Unreal Engine, which we had heard a rumor, and those rumors were correct. Although maybe the origin of the rumor may have just been conjecture as to that was the obvious move to make, and indeed they did. Or maybe it was a leak from somebody who knew. I think the former, not the latter, but who knows, and it doesn't really matter, right? They're doing it with Unreal Engine. And they've already shown, because everybody always said, we already understood as fans that the Slipstream engine, the Slipspace engine, right, wasn't as up to date as the other modern engines, right? Because it was really old, and even though they spent all this money and time and effort to try to update it still didn't have ray tracing and all these other things, right? That modern engines like Unreal Engine 5 has, right? And it would take a lot of time and effort to implement those, time and effort that could be better spent in making more games. The complexity of making a Halo game was more than just making the game. They have to build the technology that power the game every time, right? So instead of doing that, the technology is already there with the Unreal Engine, and we know how great that engine really could flex the Xbox and everything the Xbox has above the PlayStation.
And that's always
right?
been my
And I'll just be
understanding.
performance.
Is that I don't like I'm not a game developer. I don't know the industry or anything like that, what it takes. But every time I hear about these engines, it's like EA has their own engine, Halo has their own engine. It's like this whole thing.
Yep.
And, and then at some point they change it. They're like, well, we're starting to use this because it's more up to date and yada yada.
Yeah.
But then you have Unreal, who's been out for a long time, right? They've been
right,
out since forever.
And they sell it for other people to use, and it's adapted to be way more to be the anything.
What it is, right? That's the issue. Is like they don't want to pay somebody else to use their tech.
Street Fighter, Tekken, Namco uses this for almost everything. Ace Combat.
Is that what it is?
Project.
Because they don't want to pay.
Yeah.
It just goes back into what I've been saying. They're tired of breaking their money 5 different ways.
Right.
Like everybody has their own.
Can't they see that if you try to develop your own, waste all this time and money into it, and at some point you're like
that's what they finally realize.
It's like, well, then you just screwed yourself. It's like, why not just could have gone with that? That's like with the whole Astrodome shit. The Astrodome, nobody knows what to do with it for the last 20 years, right? If they would have just demolished this 20 years ago, we wouldn't have to be talking about how costly it is to demolish it today.
Right.
Yeah?
Yes, that's true, but they have been making use of it. It's just not. It's so antiquated that you remember it was the seventh wonder of the world when it was erected, but now it's like nobody wants to host their things there. Kind of like the George R. Brown, right? Yeah. But anyway,
just like the slip space engine. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying about.
Not even the slip space engine. See, like ray tracing and all this other stuff, right? People use Halo because of the way the games performed in it, right? They use the slip space engine. There's a lot of S's. Okay, slip space engine for Halo and Microsoft, but there must be some revision to Epic's terms, because now you have Epic, and I kind of see why Sony's trying to get in bed with them now. But you have Epic becoming like the de facto default engine.
Yes.
No, not becoming. Has been for like 2 generations.
They can't be the de facto fallback if everybody else has their own engines. CDPR just adopted it because they always had their red engine.
But think about it. From the 360.
Let me finish. Can I finish a thought? Shit. And so like,
man, you're saying a lot of untrue shit.
No, it's not. It's not true. How is it the default engine if everybody else has their own engine?
But everybody
that shit don't make no sense, bro. So let me finish my thought. So EA has their own engine. Their engine can't do third person supposedly, so from what I heard. Who else was out there? The people who made Rise, they had their own engine. Everybody has their own engine because everybody's trying to do what Unreal's trying to do at the same time. Microsoft has Havoc. This in damn near every game that's out there. So everybody's trying to become what Epic is on their way to becoming, or has Six said that they already are. So I think that they may have revised it and made it more friendly for people to use it because everybody's using it now. Like Six said, Tekken is using it. Capcom has their engine that everybody complains about, right?
No, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not really.
But no, what you're not trying to tell me, because you're trying to tell me that it's the default, but it's not. Because I just came through another engine that I wasn't thinking about, but supposedly that one has its own issues. But if Epic has an engine that is better than everybody else's engine, what's the point in anybody else coming up with one? EA might have to do it too. The CDPR had Red. I don't know who had a problem with Red, but it was a big deal that the new Witcher is going to be on Unreal. But like you said, like I've been saying, nobody wants to pay for it. So what are you going to tell me, Six?
What I've been saying since the 360, And even before then, the freaking Unreal Engine was used on so many things. You oddly named all the outliers, frankly.
They're not outliers. There's a publishers.
Okay, well, still, they're outliers. When you look at most games, right? When you look at most games and you say which engine is most games using, yeah, you can give me plenty of examples of publishers with their own engines who use their own engine. But
let me say one thing, because what I said is they're becoming the default engine, and you said they already are. They're not. If everybody else is not using it.
Okay, all right. Well, let me finish now then, okay? Because I might have been interrupting you, and I'm sorry, but you're just doing the same thing back. It just makes you twice as bad. Because like,
I'm just correcting you, bro, because you said default.
I'm also trying to correct you. That's what I tried to interrupt you for. Like I said, I'm sorry, but now hear me out.
I'm sorry. Shut up.
The Unreal, yeah, but hear me out though. No, not shut up, but hear me out though. The Unreal Engine has been almost the de facto and is steadily become the de facto since the 360 era, right? Or with Gears of War, it started that trend. So many video games on the 360 and PS3 all look the same, where all the characters look like they came from Gears of War with the drab color schemes that people used to complain about in the 360 era. And it wasn't just 360 games, it was PlayStation 3 games and PC games as well that all were using Unreal Engine. And then last generation with Unreal Engine 4, right? Namco jumped on then, right? With Tekken and Ace Combat and a bunch of Dragon Ball Z games, right? That's from like last generation on the PS4 and Xbox One. Now you have Unreal Engine 5, which had some early headaches, right? But now that engine, and even from Unreal Engine 4, was the type of engine where it used to have a generic look in the 360 era. Now none of these games have a generic look to them. They all look different. That engine is so diverse and has been since Unreal Engine 4. Now we're on Unreal Engine 5, and it had its early growing pains in the past 2 years, maybe year and a half, when a lot of games were using that engine not performing so well and developers are having issues. But now it seems like they've done work that out, right? Capcom,
I don't think so.
All these games, and now even Halo is using it. Sony been using it. What was that zombie game with the biker? That's Unreal Engine.
That's the only one they got. That's what I was gonna bring up.
What, Dead Rising?
And Concrete Genie. He talking about Days Gone.
Okay, yeah, Days Gone. Now Sony is the only one I would say that stuck to engines. You know why? Because they had all these developers and they had a cross-pollination, right? Where all those developers would communicate. So development was a lot easier amongst them, right? They shared knowledge and information, right? Microsoft has emulated that big time, and they have the best developers when it comes to Unreal Engine in-house, the coalition, right? And you know Microsoft has been spreading that knowledge too. I guarantee you, 343 and now is the Halo Studios, right? Has been cribbing from that knowledge, right? That knowledge is spreading around through all those developers at Microsoft, Xbox Gaming, or whatever you want to call it, under that umbrella. That's been happening. That's not a new thing. It's a thing that's been happening since the 360 and even before then on the original Xbox. I've been watching this happen for 20 years.
Let me tell you what it is, man. Halo is too important to Microsoft, too big for Xbox, that they can't have a hiccup anymore. Right. They know that they're not going to employ these people long term. They're going to use contractors. Unreal is the best play. Because if you go through all of Microsoft studios, Playground has id Tech. Playground is using id Tech on Fable as well. You also have not id Tech. What is it called?
id Tech 5, I think it is. Or
no. Playground.
Playground games.
Playground's not using. These what is it called?
I forget what the Forza engine is called.
Forza engine. That's it. Yeah. They're using the Forza engine, and they're using the Forza engine on Fable as well.
Yes.
You already have id. You have Call of Duty that uses a modified version of id on Call of Duty games.
Right.
So different engines are better for different purposes. That's why I was saying what I was saying about Halo. That's why my biggest concern is about Halo feeling like Halo in Unreal. That was the whole thing.
No, I follow you. I think,
So go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were done. I was going to respond to that.
No.
Okay.
No, that's what I was saying the other day with Legal that everybody's hyping it up. I was like, man, it's not Halo if it doesn't feel like Halo, because everybody has their issues with Blam or whatever else they want to call it, slip space, but it was Halo, and that's what made Halo Halo, and we need Halo to still be Halo.
No doubt, I agree.
Different engines have their purposes. Like Decima. Decima's made for pretty graphics.
Yeah.
This is why you make a game for them. Second party, you're gonna be on Decima, more than likely.
Yeah.
Because they have a certain signature look to their games. Because if you look at Death Stranding, it looks like any other PlayStation game.
Yeah.
So different engines have their purposes. Now, you said that people are getting better with it. I don't think so. I think that they found it. I think that they found the answer, and the answer is the hardware that we have ain't even ready for that. And if people try to make games that look like the Nanite demo, you're gonna have a hard time because most of this hardware ain't ready for it.
Well,
so I don't think they've gotten better. I think that that's why the 5090 is such a hype proposition right now.
Well, I would say the performance that we're seeing on more recent games that use that engine on consoles, right?
Like what?
Have done a lot better compared to like a year and a half ago when you were saying Immortal. Yeah, Tekken, Street Fighter.
Yeah, that's a fighting game.
I mean, and fighting games need performance more than ever. They
need to.
That was an engine that didn't have that. So
yeah, they need because people count frames and all that stuff in fighting games. Yeah, but we're talking about whatever they do. I forgot what they call it. When they time fighting moves. I don't know if you're big in the fight. I used to listen to people talk about it.
Or the cutscene moves. Yeah, they dropped that.
No, frames is frames. They count frames. I can't remember what that does for them.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's a fighting game. But when you start talking, not like that, Tech. But when you start getting into games like Witcher 4, right? These big, huge open world games that they're gonna try to make look like the Nanite demo. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. If Sony would have had the nuts to let Ben make another game, because that game looks good. I don't know if you played Days Gone, Tech, and they gave it away for free on Epic.
You did.
Sick.
No.
So
I don't know if I have it or not. I might. I'd have to look.
But like that's a good looking game, and that's Unreal 4. A lot of these games are still on Unreal 4.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I mean? But like,
upgrade then. Shit. Hit that firmware.
But what I'm saying, right? Well, I mean, I
don't think it's that easy.
It's not that easy, although it kind of is. I mean,
there's
it's
that button that says, "Hey, you got a new update."
But it is still tough. But what I'm saying is, just on console, forget the PC side with Unreal Engine 5. The first couple of games came out really rough.
What's that?
30 at best. Like the lots of games. I've seen them all over. I'm not gonna.
No, you said the first couple. I just want to know the first couple.
I don't remember any of them, man. I just remember seeing them all the time. That's what the talk was all the damn time, right?
Well, no, because I know, because like most of the ones that come out that look good, like what do we get on Unreal 5? It was trash. That Remnant game, it ran like trash.
Right.
Like a lot of people thought that the island, Dead Island, a lot of people thought that was Unreal 5, but it was still Unreal 4.
Right.
That's why I'm asking you. I'm not trying to be slick. I'm really trying to think.
I honestly am telling you to answer your question. Words is I don't remember. All I know is, right, a lot of these Unreal Engine 5 games that were confirmed and known to have been, right, it put a bad taint on the engine there early on, right? Because they weren't performing too well on console or even PC, actually, right? It's where you're talking about we're talking about 5090 talking blah, 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 right? But that was the way it was from the beginning. But now in the past, this year, lots of games are coming out, and you don't see that as an issue as much. Now, can you give me an example? Of course you can. You could instantly say you could bring out a Black Myth, but that's also developed that clearly didn't know what the fuck they were doing, because even the PlayStation could perform better than that, right? And we know this. But that just goes to show that over time it will get better. Unreal Engine 3 was the same way. Unreal Engine 4 was the same way. early on, there was a lot of issues with stuff, right? Until they started mastering it, and Epic put in that time and effort to smooth it out and update it and bug fix and add features and stuff to the editor program that they use, to make games with in the engine, right? And people get familiar with it and they get feedback and iterate upon it, and then it's 5.1, 5.2, whatever internally they refer to it as. And I've seen that happen throughout the major iterations of an Unreal Engine. Now with Unreal Engine 4, I would say, actually, it started, but especially with 5, right? You can't tell it's Unreal Engine until they say, because the art style will be some anime style shit, or something that looks like Gears of War, or something that looks super realistic. Like, to say that Unreal Engine has a specific look anymore has long since stopped, right? But it used to be a time when it did, even with Unreal Engine 4, which is when they really.
That's because of the poster children, though. Like Gears was one of the poster children.
Right. But that whole generation, all the games that use that engine all had, even games that may not have used it, like the 50 Cent games, right? All the G Unit looked like they were neighbors straight out of Gears of War wearing the hood, right? No, and the Def Jam games, which obviously wasn't Unreal Engine, right? I'm talking about the 50 Cent Blood in the Sand, and what was the other one, right? From CHQ, right? All the G Unit looked like they were straight out of Gears of War. Straight out of Gears of War wearing, do-rags and Timbs and jeans and fitted and fitted caps and jerseys and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it was. That's how it was. Sick. But then eventually they evolved past that look, that generic look.
Here's some games that are using it, right? And all these games struggled. Not counting Black Myth, which did struggle.
Right, but
and then we slept. Hellblade 2 uses Unreal 5.
Right,
we slept on that.
That's a good performance.
Now look at how much time they took, and look at it. They took their time, and they're probably second or third after Epic, Coalition. They're probably the third as far as the utilization. Well, that's another one. I was gonna go through some games that we already have, and we know that didn't.
That is not performed badly, like sales wise, but performance wise, nobody ever complained about its performance.
Bro, the game was not bad. I don't have nothing bad to say about that game. But look, Immortal. Look, real quick, man. Immortals of Avium used it. Remnant 2, which I called Lords. Yeah, all of these did, but Lords of the Fallen, Tekken 8, Nightingale. I don't know if y'all played it, but Nightingale was a small indie game. Arc.
I don't remember if it
2 is supposed to have it, and the Arc remake that they just dropped has it. Yeah. Of course, Fortnite has it, but you look at Fortnite. I mean, it's not gonna have any problems. It better not have any problems.
Right.
RoboCop first Descendant. First Descendant.
Because I was double A.
Oh, Quantum Error.
Still waiting for the $20 drop.
Oh, Banishers is using it too.
Yeah. Still waiting for RoboCop to drop under $20.
Yes.
On Woot.
Me too.
On Woot.
I sided with you on that. Yeah. Right. But like this, and it's Power World.
20.
That's Unreal Engine. But that was early access.
But I don't think that's is that 5?
It says Unreal Engine 5 games. I have an article here from Wikipedia where they put only the games from Unreal Engine 5. I'm looking at it all.
All right.
Final Fantasy moved to it.
Yeah, and Delta Force did. It performs great. I can't wait to play it on console. No. The Delta Force Hawk Ops.
Silent Hill 2 is running on it too. So
yeah,
over time, of course, people are going to get better. But I still think it needs more horsepower.
Oh no!
If they're going to make it look like what the dream that everybody was sold, it's going to need more horsepower. And from the very beginning, I said consoles can't do that at 60. And people have been going back and forth and arguing with each other. That's just too much, man. If you try to make a game that looks like that, you're going to be running at 30. Because I don't know what engine Rockstar uses, but Rockstar, I'm pretty sure it's their own too.
But that's their own, and they spend the time and money, and of course, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, they take their time on it,
right? and Stalker 2 gets a pass because of their situation. Otherwise, they would have already been out.
But I don't think Stalker 2 is going to have any issues. I think it's going to probably run at 30 on consoles and be A1 on PC.
It's supposed to run 60 on consoles.
Supposed to.
But that's what they said. So, but see, and the only reason it's not already out and doing it at 60 is because of the obvious situation they're in, right? So you give them a pass, right?
That's nothing.
But I would say the more recent games, right, are doing it, and the older ones kind of did not. Right, and that just took over time. And and new hardware will help, but on the consoles, this is what they're going to be rocking with. These developers are flooding towards it, right? But you won't see the real value of that engine until the next hardware. But the same thing happened with Unreal Engine 4 because it started on the 360 and PS3 era at the very end there.
Yeah,
it really did. The same thing happened with Unreal Engine, not 3. But what was that other engine that was doing the same thing? And that's what
I was going to bring up. We forgot all about the other one, the one that pissed everybody off. No, what's that other engine? It was Epic's main competition until they tried to charge Unity.
Right.
A lot of games were using Unity too until they just did what they did. Now Godot, however you want to say it. Now people are trying to use Godot.
Right, but also Unity was always known to be heavy, but it was very indie friendly. So,
right,
you know what I mean? They let it rock. But the other engine, the EA engine that they use for Battlefield, Frostbite, right?
That's not Frost. Yeah, that's what I say. Frost. I'm about to call it Blizzard.
That's Frostbite, and that was another engine where they began it at the end of the 360 era, right? But it really got to spread its wings last generation with PS4 and Xbox One, right? And that's usually what they would do with these engines, right? They would preview it at the tail end of the generation, right? And then it wasn't until the next generation where they really got to spread their wings and then make their name for themselves. Now, I mean, it's not exact science or pattern every time. And I'm just going to wrap this up before I talk about the Intel thing, and I think we're going to leave.
Yep.
But yo, that's the same thing that's happening here, right? Early on, not so hot, which is the point I was making all along. Early on, not so hot. Now they're doing a lot better than they were early on, because early on, they were so bad, it was making Unreal Engine look bad in the eyes of enthusiasts. They were like, that's not a good look when they hear that it's Unreal Engine 5. They already expected bad performance and definitely not no 60 frames. Now you can't just say that. Right, there's lots of games that do 60 frames on it, and even and more to come in the future.
There must be something to like making your own modification to an engine, because like a lot of these engines are based off of the one that Amazon bought from CryEngine.
Yeah,
because even Amazon uses a modified CryEngine. Same thing with Ubisoft until they just created their new one. What is that one called? Not Frost. It's something cold. But the Anvil was based off of the CryEngine.
Yeah.
So it must be something to it, and you got to have the money. So because you brought up indies. Indies, you're indie. You need an engine, and you need something favorable. This is why not having to pay Epic until you make money is perfect for them. I don't know what I never looked into Unity. I know people who are building small games or who were building small games on Unity. Yeah. I didn't ask them any questions.
It was very indie and VR friendly up until they.
I know they were indie friendly, and I know that Epic is indie friendly now because you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay until you make a certain amount of money, and the percentage only goes up as you make money. Yeah. So there has to be some type of modification for people to start to flock to it. Also, who makes Tekken? Namco.
Namco is like balls deep with Unreal since last year.
As Bandai. So
Bandai Namco. Yeah.
So like a lot of these companies that can afford it, they're gonna just roll with Unreal.
Right.
And then some of them like because like you don't see Nintendo doing anything like that. Like these companies, they can't afford it.
Wow, I forgot about that.
I think that's Unreal, right?
Yeah, it's
South of Midnight.
I'm looking at this. Yeah, it's South of Midnight. Yep.
So like. It's like if you can afford to make an engine, you make an engine. It's obvious that Microsoft can afford to, but I think that it fits for them to use Unreal for as big as they want Halo to be. Because a lot of people got bad at Body Ross. I'm gonna finish up with that because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
We went off on a tangent, you know how we do. But so like I don't think Bonnie Ross' vision was wrong. I just think that they weren't able to execute it.
No.
Because it's like what Microsoft did in 2013 when they came out and said what they said. Everybody boo-hooed it, and then now that's what everybody's doing. And so Bonnie Ross said that this is going to be on the level of Star Wars, right? She had this huge grand vision for Halo, and I think that with everything they said, are going to be games. This is why, and this is another reason why they call it Halo Studios. This is why you needed to listen, Tech, because you had a lot of people there who didn't love Halo.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that was said behind the scenes through the insider talk or whatever. I heard it, I read it, that a lot of people there weren't fans of Halo. A lot of people were there for a job. So if you apply, to say it again, yeah. But see, those people obviously know that they're going to be delegated a task, right?
Right.
But when you apply to Halo Studios, you know what you're coming from. What you're coming for. There's no confusion. You're coming to make Halo games. You know, so that's why I think calling it Halo was important.
Yeah,
that logo. Hopefully that's a placeholder.
Man, I gotta look up this
probably
Halo.
You should have looked. Dude, we've been running our mouth all this time. You should have been looking at it.
Well, no, he was looking for it and couldn't find it.
But I think that we'll just look up the Halo new announcement, Unreal Engine or something. Then it'll probably be in there somewhere. But like. That's why the name Halo Studios was important.
Yeah, that was perfect.
People needed to be there for Halo. Know they're coming for Halo.
This like fat.
Yes.
It looks like balloon letters, bro.
Yes. It's terrible.
I can't.
It's terrible.
That.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I can't.
It actually looks better here. Because when I saw it, it looked.
But when you see
way
it with the white
uglier.
with the silver, it's worse.
Well,
and one last thing,
if I didn't know it was supposed to read Halo, I wouldn't know what that was doing.
Yeah, click on it. Yeah, it that's not even a click on it. You'll see. There you go. And anyway, one last thing I'll say before we move on to this Intel thing, real quick, right? If Destiny can feel like Halo with a completely different engine, Halo, or whatever the next iteration is.
But are you certain that it's a completely different engine
with Destiny?
Yeah.
Not,
what is it? Is that Unreal?
I don't think it's. I don't know what it is.
I'm
damn sure it's not Blam or Slipspace.
No, it's not.
Yes.
But it could be. Yeah. It could be some type of modification because, like I said, it is used by Call of Duty Studios, right? So it's their IW3 whatever engine, but it's a modified engine.
Yeah, it doesn't say what engine it ever was, but I'm saying. I don't think that was that engine because wow, right? But it still feels and controls like Halo. They got all of that aspect right, which was very, very key for that game in the very beginning, right?
What I tell you, the game Destiny uses the Tiger engine, a modified version of the Blam engine that was used for the Halo series. I'm telling you, man.
But it's also a lot of the same developers, so of course they could do it. Which is my point. It's not so much about the engine. If they could do it, different people who left because they didn't want to do Halo anymore.
And you said it was a completely different engine. And I'm telling you that these engines have their purposes. And there's a reason why they use them. That's all I'm saying.
You're being stuck on that and not hearing what I was saying and why I was saying it.
I heard everything you said.
My neighbor.
You don't be hearing me.
My neighbor.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with this neighbor. I don't know what's up with this neighbor with me, man.
You're not listening, man. I'm trying to say, if different people who didn't want to do Halo, who left because they want to do something different, right, can still get that feel right. The people who stayed on to do Halo could do it with a different engine. It's that simple. Anyway, I'll move on to this last.
But real quick, I do think that Destiny probably have it's probably 80% that they have more continuity than 343 due to the fact of Microsoft doing the contractor business.
Yeah.
Most of these studios don't do business like that. Even Sony, props to them. they'll
They don't do
buy
that.
the support studios.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Microsoft might
Yeah.
need to do
You're
that
right.
and let them do their business the same type of way. Because it really has hurt development. I mean, because I can imagine that Playground, all the rest of these studios that they have acquired, all these other studios have done hiring, but you don't hear layoffs from these studios. Remember, all these studios they bought were smaller, and they did hiring, but you don't hear anything about firing, except for with Undead, but they lost their top guy.
Either way.
What do you guys say about this, man?
Intel thing.
This is your thing.
Okay.
What's up?
Right,
Ultra.
bro.
It's like they're trying to steal Samsung's Ultra.
I don't know. Okay, these processor names is all asked from no matter who it is, right? They all, I don't get it.
It's a buzzword.
But they're, yeah. And they love to bring AI into every aspect of what they're talking about.
Ultra combo. That should have called it that.
But anyway, AMD earlier in the year, right? Okay, you've heard the phrase Moore's law is dead, right?
Yes,
The advancements of CPUs and stuff has slowed down, right? Every generation isn't the big increase it used to be, right? And they've done certain things to get around that efficiency, multi-threading, all types of stuff, right? But
the giant leap is no more.
Right, the giant leap is generally no more, right? You might see that in GPUs still, right? Because of the nature of the math and shit like that, they can multi-thread it out, stuff like that. That's still there. But in terms of CPUs, like a general type of processor, right? AMD early in the year, they came out with Zen 5, right? And they hyped up all this wild shit about performance. Push come to shove, it wasn't really there. Now, some of that had to do with Windows, and so very recently with the most recent update of Windows, they got a lot of that back. But still, overall, the narrative I'm trying to push here is, Moore's law may not be dead, but it's slowly about to die. It's an old ass man on a cane or a wheelchair, right? Like, so they got to do all types of tricks and stuff to get performance improvements, right? And sometimes you don't even get that performance improvement, but what you will get is the same level of performance for way less power use, right? But AMD's been talking that talk for a while. Intel's been looking really bad because, they had all types of issues, most of which were on their foundry issues, right? They couldn't do what TSMC were doing, right? Themselves. And even these new chips are largely manufactured by TSMC. And Intel used to have a 2-generation lead on everybody in the entire industry when they came to this stuff, right? And they just don't anymore. They're behind. In fact, they're using TSMC. This is why TSMC has been on the rise these past years, right? And so AMD, meanwhile, got their head out their ass, right? And started fixing their shit. But even then, Moore's law is an old ass man and he's slowly dying. So even now, their solid days of getting, big performance has been done as what we saw earlier this year with Zen 5, right? So they claimed all this stuff. They claimed performance, right? And they claimed power efficiency, but it was more on the power efficiency and not so much the performance, right? Now, Intel, I got this here. It says, if you notice the wording, built for real world performance. Like you heard about their laptops like 2 weeks ago with the Lunar Lake, right? It's trading with all the other guys, but when it comes to efficiency and battery life, they win. They optimized it to perform very well on the things that matter to the people who buy the hardware, right? So that's what they optimized, right? Now, this is a general type of chip for desktop on the desktop side, right? So instead of doing like AMD, advertising all this performance and blah, 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 and then when push comes to shove, it's not really that. Intel done learned their lesson about making all these wild claims and then not being able to show and prove, right? So in this time, they were very humble about it. And they were like, yeah, the performance ain't really too crazy, but the efficiency, like if you're playing, what game did they mention? Space Marine 2, right? You do it on last year's top end chip, the 4900 Okay, right? Compared to this chip, it's usually 165 watts less to perform just about the same, right? And all the like the PCIe lanes, Thunderbolt, and USB, and all the NVMe slots that it can do, Wi-Fi 7, all of that stuff, right? That stuff matters a lot more. And the power efficiency, we see how it is nowadays. Now the economy may be doing a little bit better. Inflation is starting to slow down, shit like that. We're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of that tunnel, right? I'm not so much a financial guy, but this is the type of way they're talking. In terms of processors, Intel is coming out very humble and not trying to make all these wild claims. But of course, just like the console side, on the processor side, there's like all these fanboy wars, right? Now, we haven't seen any reviews yet, but I'm starting to think that maybe this is going to be performing a little better than people think, right? Not so much more, but a little bit more. But there's a couple knocks, right? Number one, AMD is going to beat them out by a little bit, but they cost a lot more, and their motherboard and all this other stuff that were happening with them. Another knock is, these processors have MPU, but it's not even at the minimum that Windows requires, right? To do all that AI stuff that Windows can do nowadays. It has to be holding tops, right? And it's like 14 or something, or 16 or something like that. It's not at the minimum, right? So Intel is here, new chips, a lot more efficient, very good performance, for realistic stuff, the things you need to do. You want to encode video, you want to do this, you want to do that. You're doing some office stuff. If you got a laptop, like with their Lunar Lake chips, very efficient on battery life. They're making even Apple look bad despite all their big claims about ARM. Here's x86 doing the same thing. But of course, you got the AMD guys loving to talk about what Intel is doing. But meanwhile,
Sony fans, huh?
It's just as bad, exactly. Yeah. But AMD just had their flop a couple months ago with Zen 5. And now that the early word is, because Intel, they openly came out and admitted it, right? So all of a sudden now the AMD fanboys want to sandbag and sit there, especially if you go to websites like WCCF Tech, right? Oh, it's 36, right? That's not enough. It has to be 40 to be the minimum for what Microsoft is looking for on Windows, right? Oh, it's not even at that minimum, right? But look at that. 58% lower package power. That's less than half.
Right? It's not
right.
40.
Right. It's close, but it's not the minimum, right? But the package power, the amount of electricity that it's using, way less, right? Space Marine 2, the big hot PC game right now, right? Taxes CPUs, and you use this CPU, it's using 165 watts less. That's a big gain, right? And like the little integrated GPU that's on the chip when you're encoding video, right? I got my 40 series. I've been using it a lot more for that than games in the past week and a half, re-encoding video that I had to 81, right? So you can take less hard drive space. That functionality is built into these CPUs now. That's crazy, right? Like, in terms of what AMD and Intel have, they're pretty comparable. But, I mean, if you're an AMD guy, sure, fine, stick with AMD. If you're an Intel dude, Intel ain't lacking no more. And it's going to be a long while before they could even be in any kind of leadership position if they ever get there. But they're on track to at least get there one day if they continue like this. But this is not something huge and major. But I see a lot of people trying to shit all over them because it wasn't like, knocking out the park. But don't expect that out of CPUs nowadays anymore. That's really not going to happen anymore. Moore's Law is an old ass dude, and he's 1 foot in the casket.
Damn, dog.
And I'm just keeping it a buck. Just keeping it a buck. It is what it is.
Well,
so yeah, that's what I want
for
to
the education on the Intel new process. What are you gonna say?
No, that's all.
Oh, that's it.
Yep.
Thank you for that coverage. Now back to you, Realist.
Realist?
Is he still?
Is he even there?
No, I'm here.
Really? I was gonna say,
I had it on mute. I was just gonna listen. No, I didn't know about. I knew about the fight, the back and forth, the fanboys and things like that. I'm gonna read more about it because, like you said, they're normally similar in performance. And while I was at the tail end, I looked it up. like Intel used to be like the big dog in compute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You look at AMD, like they're not number one in anything, but they're still worth a lot of money. Like way more than I thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, but if you hear the talk on the
I mean,
internet,
because
it's like they're one foot in the grave themselves.
because I was thinking, I was like thinking that AMD was still the little dog, but not
They're
a
not.
big dog, man.
They're a big dog now.
Because like that little 15 billion that Microsoft gave them, that's not gonna account for anything much. You know what I mean?
Nope.
I mean, they're worth their market cap is 9 billion. So I remember back right when AMD like hit, they were like $18, and I ran an auction on them, and they went up to like $40, and I cashed out. And now I'm looking at them, and they were $265 at $164 price. So like they have grown so much, you know, because when you listen to certain people talk about these things, you think these companies are doing way worse than they really are.
Yeah, exactly.
And it all boils down to what they are a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The only reason why I root for AMD or Intel is because Nvidia can't be running unchecked out here.
Right.
Now, you already have AMD saying they're getting away from the high-end graphics cards, you know, and Intel is trying to get into the graphics cards, but nobody's gonna touch it because Nvidia they're synonymous. They're the Kleenex of graphics cards right now. What were we about to say?
Okay. So in this AI thing, you know, they're also the leader. So this graphic cards, you don't even mean nothing to them because they have all this AI money coming in, right? They're number 2 again. I think they passed Microsoft again, or it was Apple or whoever, right? But AMD
last time I looked, they were still number 3. They would have to cross 3 trillion. They're like a little over 2.
I think it happened.
They probably would cross like Amazon. I could look it up real quick, but
right. But AMD is saying their new chips that they announced today.
No, they 3.3.
That's what I was saying. I think it happened yesterday or whatever. So they jumped. They're number 2. They're the like the second biggest company is Nvidia now, right? So there you go. But AMD, I'm gonna pop in one last link on just for people to see it on the screen as I say it, and then we're done, right? AMD with this AI stuff, they're saying their new chips can outperform those from Nvidia on the AI side, right? They just had that big
Nvidia gonna catch Apple.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But AMD is saying that their chips, right? Their big SoCs that they're using on servers and stuff for this AI stuff, could outperform Nvidia's H100, but that's the older stuff that came out in 2002, right? But the fact that they're that close in the dominant Nvidia that is stomping out everybody when it comes to this AI stuff. If you talking about Chat GPT or Open AI, they're all using that Nvidia stuff, right? And nobody can be pulled away from any of those to start someplace else unless you have like a server farm full of 10,000 or 20,000 of these Nvidia chips, right? Which is a paraphrase from one of these guys who tried to get poached away by somebody else who was trying to start their own AI thing, right? And they were like, nope, unless you have this many, I'm not even leaving, right? But here's the AMD saying they got some hardware that could outperform Nvidia's stuff from 2 years ago, though.
We got some.
I mean, what's that?
That what you saying about that guy? I said, no, we got some over here. You can play with.
Yeah, right. So, it's about to get real competitive. But for now, like, Realist just confirmed, and Nvidia is out there. They're the big dog at AI. All this graphic card shit, that's a side hustle for them now, right? Okay, that was the chick that brought them to the
Pimp game.
that brought them to the ball. But he's about to leave the party with the head cheerleader, right? Like that just is what it is. and
It's the peak
Nvidia
game.
is so focused on this AI thing. It's making them so much money. Everybody's using their shit, and if you don't have their shit, well, most of the guys aren't even looking at you to even want to deal with you, right? It's all Nvidia, and everybody else is just like an also ran, right? That just seems to be the way it is right now. But hey, it is what it is. Competition reigns on in AMD. Like I just explained with the CPU side, Moore's law is about to die, so they gotta look towards the next thing if they want to continue to grow and still be relevant. And so that was the last thing I want to say on that, and then we could really end now.
Yeah, we need to head out. 2.5 hours, man. That's a lot of talk.
Yeah.
A lot of good information.
A lot of talk.
So, all right, man. Let's get this party out of here. We need to head out. Anybody watching the replay, thank you very much. And we're out of here. Bye.
Peace.